quite excited for tonight. I do think that tonight is going to be an interesting show. The lineup looks okay. It's not the greatest in the world, but it looks okay. But there is a little tweet that's doing the rounds from John Alba, who I believe is like a wrestling journalist. And he says that we need to keep an eye on NXT tonight. He says he's been told something's going down tonight. I don't know what that is. He didn't say what it was. I don't even know if he knows what it is. But he said keep an eye out tonight. So that's from John Albert, who's like a wrestling journalist, and he seems to suggest that something's going to happen. No one else has picked up on this story, so I'm a little bit torn. I can't quite tell if he's got bad information. I can't quite tell if he's got an exclusive. I have no idea, but he said keep an eye tonight. We'll have to wait and see. According to him, he was told something from a very reliable source, and he can't reveal what it is, but keep an eye on NXT tonight is what he said. So, I mean, it certainly sounds more than, they're going to have someone win or like this, but I don't know. Harley said, breaking news, Summer is happening tonight. I don't know what this thing is. I don't know. I've got the tweet here, look. I'll show you. Hang on. Let me see what you can see. There it is. John Alba was told tonight's WWE NXT show will be one to keep an eye on. No details to share, just relaying what was told to me by those who would know. I'll find out with you. So that was sent earlier today. That was sent around about, 11, 12 hours ago. And I have no idea. So we'll have to wait and see if anything comes of that. Hopefully something does. That would be good. My first reaction was Daniel Bryan. As soon as I saw that and heard that, my first reaction was Daniel Bryan. Because we haven't seen him for a couple of weeks. And I think that if he's going to come back, he's likely to come back to, obviously either Raw or or NXT, because he can't come back to SmackDown. I think WWE are going to do all they can to try and keep him. So, just an interesting one. One to just be aware of in case anything does play out. But if not, then we know that that guy has got a bad source. So, I thought it was worth mentioning. Because, to be honest, the rest of the card is... it's alright. It's not the most exciting thing in the world this week. We've got... we do have a number one contender match. This is Gargano versus O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne. And the winner will get a shot at Karrion Kross. We've got MSK taking on Legado del Fantasma. We've got Stark and Ramia. Now, I think this Ramia been on screen doing like job matches, squash matches. I sort of know the name, but I think we've only seen her a couple of times. Obviously, Zoe Stark, we know her. So, Stark and Ramia. I'm struggling to picture Ramia, but I do know, I have heard the name, definitely. So, Stark and Ramia versus The Way. So, that'll be Indi and Candice. We've got a Kushida Open Challenge. And we've got Jake Atlas versus LA Knight. So, that's what we've got for tonight. As we said, maybe not the most exciting preview in the world, but hopefully NXT will not disappoint. Big Boy Dally said, I think it's a good card. They've been firing it up for a while. Daniel said, I've heard the surprise is Kenny, by God, Omega is going to turn up and add a new belt to the belt collector gimmick. LSW said, NXT are hyping us in your house. They don't want Daniel Bryan being on minds of fans. That's a good point. I doubt Daniel will show up, but I could be wrong. Well, I don't know when In Your House is, because this isn't the go home for it, is it? because the only thing I would say is if Daniel was coming to NXT, he would be surely in your house and like having a match. So if we've still got a few weeks, then it could work out time-wise. He could be a part of the build for that pay-per-view. If this was the go-home, I would agree. But if it isn't, and I don't think it is, then he might be part of the build. I don't know. All I can say is that I got sent that tweet. It's from a verified source. And it's someone that this John Alba, I don't know a great deal about, in all fairness. So I'm literally going to find out with you guys. But I am interested to see if this plays out. I'm very interested to see if this plays out, because if something does go down tonight, then we know that John Alba is a good source and someone that we can definitely, keep an eye on, and looks like he does have inside information and whatnot. And if it doesn't, well, it doesn't, Nothing lost, but I thought it was worth bringing to your attention. But yeah, just my first reaction was, if they're going to do something big, what would it be? Like, what is it going to be? They're not going to be working with anyone unless it's the Evolve thing. The MLW thing. That's been spoke about for a while. Thinking about it. Do you know, that's only just come to me. Literally earlier when I saw that, I was like, what could it be? And my first thought was Daniel Bryan. But you're right, I mean, maybe it's not. And if it isn't, what else could it be? Maybe MLW? But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm in the dark. Harry Richard said, Days, I'm really looking forward to seeing if Ted DiBiase turns up tonight as the Cameron Grimes storyline. I honestly love it. Do you think it'll lead to the $1 million title? I do. I do think it'll lead to the $1 million title. There's been a few reports kind of suggesting that it's going to go that way as well. I mean, like, I don't think they're going to use him every week. I can't see him coming back being like Cameron Grimes' manager or anything like this. It could just be, nice little interactions, but I think it would be cool if it did lead to the belt. The only problem with the belt is that I think it would be a bit lost. So, the $1 million championship, it's got a history. It's something that I think wrestling fans would like to see. But after a while, quite quickly, I think it will lose its appeal. I think that unless it's booked really well, it runs the risk of becoming like the third title in NXT. Like, you've got the NXT championship, the North American, and then you do run the risk of like the $1 million championship being just this throwaway thing. So it's got to be booked so well. I mean, obviously, when we had $1 Million Man taking on Virgil, that was amazing because of the story. So you sort of need a great story, something to really launch this thing. There's got to be a reason that they're bringing in the $1 Million championship. So we'll have to see. I do expect to see it, but I'm just a little bit concerned about the booking, because I think there's every chance that it's just going to feel very unimportant very quickly. But I'm on board with it, certainly at the moment. Zycamy said, I think Io is going to return tonight to challenge Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship one last time, or face Monet for her last match. Harley said, Days, you were right to ban those modders last night. They were the ones that broke me, especially that Austin. Well, I got a lot of apologies sent through. There was a lot of tears, a lot of crying. There was a lot of emotion, and I have reinstated them. They have been reinstated, but I want you to know that they're very different now. They've changed. They've apologized. They've learnt their lessons. And Jim Gore was not one of the bad eggs. So Jim's one of the good guys. Shout out to you, Jim. Hasib said, Days, will you be watching NWA pay-per-view this weekend? The card looks good. I need to still work that out. I need to work that out, so I still don't 100% know. I do want to watch it, but I just need to see if it clashes with anything, to be honest. Days, we read that one. Hopefully the Xia Li storyline doesn't go down the supernatural, but judging by last week, it probably will, says Brony. Yeah, I agree, bud. I agree. I really like Xia Li. I like the backstory to it. I thought you could tell a really interesting story where she kind of felt a connection to that folktale, so she was like channeling that because do you remember the story was thousands of years ago or whatever, like there was this daughter and she had to, save the kingdom and all this, and then it turns out like obviously it's her, and they gave the backstory, but I heard a lot of people saying, oh, I hope it doesn't turn out she's like thousands of years old. But I was like, it doesn't have to be that way. She can just be inspired by the story. She could like be channeling her inner like warrior, and she could like feel a connection to that character from that folk story. So she wears the same face paint as her. She does her hair the same way. It doesn't actually mean that she is actually her from thousands of years ago. So I was still on board with the story as long as it was going to have that kind of psychological element to it, which I find so interesting. You can really pick those things apart. Again, very much like, what I was hoping from Bray and the early Funhouse. But then, yeah, last week we got the mark drawn on the hand of Mercedes Martinez. Like, I think didn't lights go out and then they came back on and there was a mark on her hand that wasn't there before, or at least she was certainly suggesting it wasn't there before. And all of a sudden, I have to admit, that was me like, really, I'm not feeling this now. I mean, NXT is meant to be like the proper wrestling brand. We've not had, to my knowledge, any supernatural stuff in NXT before. And we've always praised NXT for being, the wrestling show, the wrestling brand. Not as sports entertainment-y. But who looks like that could be changing now. It looks like that could be changing. I really, really want a Zig Zig R, says Miss Clown 1. Dylan says, stays a very strong England squad for the Euros without Mason Greenwood, who's injured. Don't know why Saka, who plays for Arsenal, deserves to be playing. He didn't do much like Jesse Lingard. I think Saka's in the team because he's so versatile. So he's very much seen as one for the future, but he can play midfield. He can play in defence. He's the kind of person you could chuck on a wing up front if you really needed. Like, he is just the ultimate utility guy. So a really good player to have for a tournament, actually. He's the kind of guy, you got 26 people that you can take. He's the kind of guy that you have if you've got, like, injuries and you've got, like, problems and you really got a gap in the team and you need someone to put there that's going to do a job. Saka can do that for you. He might not excel. He might not be world class in all of these positions, but he can do a job. He can do a job. So I kind of get why Saka's there. I kind of get why he's there. I should imagine Southgate feels a bit more comfortable with him being there. I mean, I watched the announcement of the England squad. For those of you that don't know, the Euros are starting, which is the European Championships. And it's probably the second biggest competition for countries when it comes to soccer, football. Obviously, the World Cup being the biggest, but the Euros are the second biggest for us here in Europe. England have never won them. We've got a great squad. We actually announced who is in that squad today. So it is a hot topic of conversation. But I don't think there was really that many controversies, to be honest. Kind of everything went the way I thought it would go. Lingard missed out, but I don't know. He only had a good few months, in all fairness. He had, like, I don't know, what was it, 4 good months? 3, 4 good months? Like, he's been too inactive. I mean, it would be hard for him to replace someone in the squad. So I like the squad. I love our chances, and I'm super, super excited. So we're about, 10 days away or something from that starting, and there's a good chance that we are going to do all the England games on the channel. There's a very, very good chance of that. Days, did you hear that WWE are planning to have Goldberg return as a heel? I can't say that I did, no. I wouldn't be too surprised at that because they won't want Goldberg going to AEW. I don't know how many matches he's got left on his contract, but Vince is clearly, he likes the impact that Goldberg can have. He must move some numbers. He must connect with someone. Even if, whenever we see him, we're like, we're not that bothered. Clearly, he connects with someone, otherwise they wouldn't keep him around. So, if they are going to bring him back, I wouldn't be too surprised. McLean said, who do you think's the better wrestler, Serena Deeb or Zoe Stark? That's a really good question. I think that Serena Deeb is better because I think that she is doing it, I don't want to say on a bigger stage, but I kind of feel like she's the NWA Women's Champion. She knows who she is. She, in a way, is putting others over. So she can wrestle and she can work with anyone. She's going out there and just having effortlessly great matches. I kind of feel like she goes out there and it's just like, this is just what she is and what she does. With Zoe Stark, we still don't know who she is and what she does. We know that she's capable of great matches, and it's a great comparison because I would say that Zoe Stark is NXT's Serena Deeb. I think it's a great comparison. But I feel that Serena Deeb is very comfortable with where she is in wrestling, where I feel like Zoe Stark's just starting. So Zoe Stark needs a gimmick. She needs feuds. She needs an identity, and she needs a purpose. Whereas, Serena Deeb's got all of that. I mean, at this stage, she's just a great wrestler. That is her gimmick. She's not really got, a great feud going at the moment, but she is the NWA Women's Champion. So, really, feuds will come to her. So, she doesn't really need to worry about that. Plus, she's got all the history of being in WWE and all of that. So, this is what I'm saying. I just kind of feel like Serena Deeb's very comfortable. And I think that does show in her matches. Whereas I think Zoe Stark might be wanting to impress, might be trying to figure out her gimmick and her character still. So I don't feel like we're seeing the final product of Zoe Stark. So if I had to choose one, I would probably... It's difficult because if I'm building a new promotion, I'm probably taking Zoe Stark because I think she is as good. And I think that she is a fantastic wrestler, and I think she's probably got a longer run. I think she just needs to find that gimmick. So I'd probably go with Zoe Stark, but I think right now Serena Deeb's better because she knows who she is and what she's doing. In a way, it's sort of like, I'm trying to think of like a sports star. In a way, how would I compare it? It's a little like Serena Deeb is Serena Williams, and Zoe Stark is that other one, the new one. I can't remember her name. What's her name? The one that just pulled out of the French Open. I can't remember. You know the one I'm on about. The famous new tennis player. The young one that's already got millions. I want to say Akami, but that's just completely not correct, is it? But yeah, I kind of feel like you've got the established vet and the newcomer. It is my 16th birthday. Can you sing for me? Happy birthday, Lauren. Is it your 16th today? Happy birthday to you. I won't make it creepy because you're only 16. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lauren. Happy birthday to you. That was bad, actually. you could tell that I still wanted to make it sensual, and I was still channeling my inner Marilyn Monroe, but I was really having to rein it in because 16, no. So, my inner Marilyn Monroe was fighting to come out there, guys. You saw a real inner turmoil. Johnny said, Days, you said that you'll give Austin and Sonny a second chance. I will too. That's good. They're good people, Johnny. They are good people. Pete Sampras. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. So, in many ways, Serena Deeb is Serena Williams, and Zoe Stark is Pete Sampras. Naomi Osaka. That's it. Osaka. That's it. Jim said, who is the Anna Kournikova of wrestling? What a name. What a blast from the past. I remember in the newspaper when I was a kid, whenever Wimbledon was on, they had a Anna corner. They had a little corner of the newspaper that was just literally a picture of her every day. Anna corner. Because she was a very attractive female tennis player, let me tell you. Very attractive. In fact, is she married to, like, Enrique Iglesias? Or she was certainly in a relationship with him. And she was known for her looks, Anna Kournikova. So, God, that's a name I haven't heard or thought about in probably about 20 years. Like Anna Kournikova. But yeah, for some reason I remember our newspaper that we used to get every day had during Wimbledon an Anna corner, and it was literally a corner of the newspaper. It was just a different picture of her every day. It was a different time, guys. I mean, they wouldn't do it now. It was just a different time. But who is the Anna Kournikova? That would be someone that can wrestle, but they're not elite. They're not going to be like a champion, but they can wrestle. They're good, but they're maybe known more for their looks. I kind of feel like that might be Mandy Rose. It might be Mandy Rose, or like I was going to say Liv Morgan, but don't know. But, well, in fairness, she hasn't won a championship, has she? She's known for her looks. She's very popular. She hasn't won a title. So, maybe a Liv Morgan or a Mandy Rose. One of those would be an Anna Kournikova. Craig said, do you fancy a game of tennis? I'll bring the rackets. Do you know, I've only ever played tennis in my life, like, 5 times. And 4 of them were at school during, like, PE. Or whatever you guys would call it. We call it PE, which is physical education. But, yeah, I've not really played tennis much in my life at all. I haven't even got a racket. I couldn't bring a racket. I don't own one. Harry Richards said, Days, if you were Vince, would you lose Randy Orton to sign Omega or keep Randy and don't sign Omega? I would lose Randy and sign Omega. Only because I think there's a lot more new, fresh matches that you could have with Omega. So it's certainly not a judgment on who's better. But if I'm Vince, I've already had how many years of Randy Orton? Well, it depends. Does Randy go to AEW? Because I certainly wouldn't want him going there. If Randy's going to retire, if I just choose one sits at home and one gets to wrestle, I would bring in Omega because he's never wrestled in WWE on the main rosters, and you could do so many big matches. I would go that way, but I wouldn't. If I was Vince, I wouldn't want Randy Orton going to AEW. If it's a case that if I get Omega, they get Orton, then I'm keeping Orton. Because if I'm Vince, Randy Orton really moves the dial. Really moves the dial. He would be one of the biggest gets that AEW could get. So I would not, as Vince McMahon, want to see him go to AEW. Lewis Ferguson says Colby versus Usman. Who wins the rematch? I think Usman. I think Usman's just on a different level. I really do. I think even Colby would struggle to stop him. Because I understand. I think, first of all, I think Usman's striking has drastically improved. But I just think that he's got such incredible control. Like, I think he could grab Colby, drive him against the fence, and just do to him what he did to Masvidal in that first fight. But now he can also stand and exchange. And we saw him stand in and exchanging with Colby the first time. But now he's so much better with his striking, Usman, that I would really struggle to see how Colby would get the win. I mean, he'd have a chance, sure. But I think at this stage, you know, after seeing what Usman did to Burns, and how easily he dealt with Masvidal, Usman. I think Usman might be the best thing in UFC right now, genuinely. James Chadwick said Serena Deeb is defending the NWA Women's title against Camille on Saturday. That's going to be a problem. I really did want to watch it, but if it's Saturday, that's going to clash with the UFC for us, unless it's on at a different time. I'll have to have a look. Lauren said it's Marilyn Monroe's birthday is today as well. No way. Is it really Marilyn Monroe's birthday today? It can't be. I sang Happy Birthday in the style of Marilyn Monroe, and you're telling me it's Marilyn Monroe's birthday today? Flip, it is, you know. Born on 1st of June, 1926. She would have been 95 today. If she was still alive, she would be 95 today. Do you know what? I never realised this. Marilyn Monroe would have died, or did die, in 1962. In my mind, she died in like 70-something. Like, I know she's not still alive. I know she passed away long before I was born. But 62? I didn't realise it was that early. I don't even know what she passed away of, actually. I'm going to have a quick look. I know this has got nothing to do with anything, but just whilst I'm here, might be fun to find out. So, she passed away in 62. And what did she die of? Oh, okay. There's a whole section on her death. She died of an overdose. Oh. One of the most popular stars in the 50s and 60s, was considered a major sex symbol, just like me, guys, and was a top-billed actress, just like me. Monroe's films have grossed over $200 million by the time of her death. She suffered from mental illness. I didn't know that. It's interesting. That's crazy, isn't it, that I sang a bit of Marilyn Monroe? Perhaps she jumped in. Perhaps, you know, like how the Fiend is going around possessing everyone. Maybe Marilyn's doing that now, and I was possessed by Marilyn Monroe. Because as I was singing, I didn't feel in control, you know. It really felt like there was another entity that was controlling me, so how crazy. Jim said, attention, NWA, When Our Shadows Fall is on June 6th, which is coming Sunday. I'll have a look into it. We'll see if it clashes with anything, and we'll cross the bridge when we get to it. I'm not quite at the bridge yet. Yeah, I'm at the edge of the bridge, and I'm about to cross it, but I'm currently having a conversation with Marilyn Monroe. So as soon as I'm ready to cross the bridge, then we'll look into it. Daniel said, since Usman went and started training with Trevor Whitman, he has turned him into an elite striker, just like how Trevor has turned Thug Rose and Gaethje into elite strikers. Excellent point. I completely agree. McLean said, Days, imagine at SummerSlam, Big E versus Goldberg. Big E wins. It would legitimize Big E as a main event. That would actually be a decent match. That'd actually be a decent way of using Goldberg. I mean, Goldberg is at the point now where he is going to have to start putting people over. He put over, I mean, like, obviously he beat The Fiend. Then, was his next match, he beat The Fiend. His next match then was putting over Braun at WrestleMania. And then I think his next match after that, did he put over Drew? Or did he... Yeah, it was. I think he wasn't at SummerSlam, was he? So I think he has put over a couple of people recently. But I mean, that's what he needs to do now. That's what he needs to do. He's just got to keep putting people over. It will diminish his appeal, but he can't have many matches left, can he? Surely he can't have many matches left. Jeremy said, do you see facing the NXT title Dunne, Kyle, Dunne, or Johnny? I think it won't be Johnny because he's got a belt. Dunne is a bit tricky. I don't feel like Dunne feels like a big deal at the moment. I think it'd probably be Kyle. I'm leaning to Kyle. I think cool Kyle might get another shot. But it could be Dunne. I'm really not expecting it to be Johnny. Johnny's, unless they're going to do like champion versus champion kind of a thing. But no, I think Johnny's... Oh, hang on, no, he hasn't even got the belt anymore, has he? He lost it to... In my mind, he's still North American champion, but of course he lost it just a couple of weeks ago. Oh, well, that changes things. Thinking about it, that changes things. He lost it to old matey boy, didn't he? Or Bronson Reed. I don't know what Cross is. Is Cross a heel or a face? That would really help. If Cross was a face, then I'd pick a heel. If he was a heel, then I would pick a face. But he's kind of in the middle, isn't he? He's facing Balor, but he's kind of cutting face promos. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Who do you think is gonna face Karrion Kross? Who do you think's gonna face Karrion Kross? I can't quite work it out which way that's gonna go. So we do have a number one contenders match. Gargano versus O'Reilly versus Dunne. Which way do you think that'll go? Miss Clown 1 said, Cross seems more like a lone wolf to me. Daisy's going down the yellow brick road. I was getting in a right pickle. Harley said, Days, really modders are nice now. They've apologised. That's great. Days, what do you think about the rumours of Finn Balor possibly returning the Demon? I wouldn't do it quickly. I mean, honestly, I understand people might want to see it again, but I think he's gone down to NXT, and he's really established himself. And now he's going to sort of throw it away by bringing the Demon back. Doesn't make a great deal of sense. So I wouldn't do it for a long time. It's one of those. You might do it at like WrestleMania in the future. But for me, I think the Demon's pretty much done. It's the kind of thing you'd bring back once or twice. That's it. Cross destroys all. Mr. Wrestling, says Deception Hunter. Gargano for the win, says Michael. Flamethrower says Gargano. Looks like a lot of people are saying Johnny here. LSW says Johnny. Cool Kyle says John. So Johnny says Johnny. So looks like we've got quite a few for Johnny Gargano here. I must admit, I mean, I don't know why I looked at it and I was like, well, Johnny's champ. O'Reilly's a face. Dunne's a heel. I was like, okay, so it's going to be O'Reilly or Dunne. What is Cross? Is he a face? Is he a heel? I can't quite figure it out. But, of course, you know, Gargano isn't a champion, so that kind of brings him back into the conversation. It's a really interesting match. It's a really interesting triple threat because you could make an argument for any of those three winning. So, looking forward to it. Johnny said, when will Bray come back? No idea, buddy. No idea. I'd imagine before SummerSlam. But there's clearly things going on. I mean, he's been away for most of this year. He came back at just before WrestleMania, didn't he? Did the WrestleMania match and went again. So I hope everything's okay. Butter Spark said, when the Fiend comes back, he's got to achieve a win over someone significant. Jim said, I would like to see Scarlett go after the NXT Women's Championship. Mayhem said Balor did say that he wants to continue the storyline with The Fiend. We did speak about this a few weeks ago. That's definitely something I would do. I would do Fiend Balor, and I would have it where Balor is himself. I wouldn't do Demon, right? I wouldn't do Demon. I would do Balor because The Fiend beat Balor. So I really feel that Balor has been away and, he's really found himself in NXT. And now he comes back to the main roster. And I think just from a storyline point of view, I think it's really cool if we do Fiend versus normal Balor again. But this time, he's back to show that he has learnt a few things. He couldn't hang with The Fiend the first time. The Fiend blew him away. But he's different now. Balor's got a different attitude. He's obviously been in NXT. He's been champion, and he's kind of found himself. And I think if he goes back and he gets the respect of The Fiend, I really like that. So I would do it whereby they're wrestling, and Fiend's getting some moments, Balor's getting some moments, and then I said before, I'd just do it where The Fiend just looks at Balor, nods, as if to say yeah, you're not the same person I faced before, and then lights go out when they come on, The Fiend's gone, and that could be the end of the match. So that way Balor gets a little summit back, because you got to remember, main roster wise, he lost to The Fiend and was gone for 2 years. If he comes back now, I mean, he will have been gone since SummerSlam 2019. So I kind of feel that you've got to give something back to Balor. You can't just have Balor lose to The Fiend again. But equally, you can't have The Fiend lose. So it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. So I think you'd have to do some along those lines so that both guys look good coming out of it. Harry said, Days, I don't understand why Vince never liked lucha wrestlers, as he had guys like Andrade, Kalisto, Sin Cara, and used them so poorly, whereas AEW uses them right. I just think he struggles with smaller people. I mean, famously, whenever you talk about small wrestlers being given opportunity, the same names tend to come around. You tend to hear Rey Mysterio, you tend to hear Daniel Bryan, you tend to hear Shawn and Brett, right? Those just off the top of my head would be some names that you get thrown around. Vince likes bigger guys, but those are some smaller guys that have all been given opportunity. So if we break it down, first of all, Rey Mysterio went on to win the title, won the Rumble, went on to win the title. This was around when Eddie Guerrero passed away, and apparently Vince had to be convinced that this was the right way forward. This wasn't something Vince was going to do. Vince wasn't going to put the title on Rey. But apparently, listening to JR's podcast, Bruce Pritchard's podcast, he had to be convinced that that was the right way forward. So that's why Rey got it, because everyone around Vince wanted it to happen, and it had the connection to Eddie, and the fans wanted it, so on. So that was Rey. In regards to Daniel Bryan, we know that wasn't the plan. Once again, it's the fans. The fans were so vocal for Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was meant to face Sheamus at WrestleMania 30. That was the plan. It was going to be a rematch of WrestleMania 28. It was going to be Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus, but it was all the fans that changed the narrative. And as a result, we end up obviously getting Yeselmania. But it's famous that Batista was meant to come back and win the title that year. Batista was, who did win the Rumble, was meant to come back as a babyface, and he was meant to come back and win the belt. But it became very apparent that the fans didn't want Batista. They wanted Daniel Bryan. So that's why Daniel Bryan got the nod. And then in regards to Shawn and Brett, they won it because of the steroids trial. So you've got, obviously, Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and all these massive guys in the 90s. And then steroids become banned. And Vince actually goes on trial, and it's moody. I mean, Vince really thought he was going to prison, and there's a lot of talk about what the company would have done if Vince had gone to prison, because the accusations were that Vince was forcing the wrestlers to take steroids to be bigger, and he was even helping to provide them backstage, and all of this kind of stuff. And steroids became illegal. So if he had been doing that, then he could have gone to prison. So, if you look at wrestling around from 92 to 93, if you look at wrestling in 92 and then look at it in 93, it's a very different place. In 92, you've got the likes of the British Bulldog main event in SummerSlam. You got the Ultimate Warrior in the title match against Macho Man. You got Hogan at WrestleMania 8, and he's looking, quite big. You've got all these bigger guys, and then you fast forward to 93, all of a sudden they're gone. Like, Hogan comes back, but he's smaller. Bulldog's gone. Warrior's gone. Like, anyone that's got a size has gone because of the steroids trial. And instead they focus on the smaller, more naturally built wrestlers, because it just wouldn't have been a good look for them at that time. So the reason that Vince doesn't push luchas is because they're small, and he doesn't see the value in them. And you can go back through history and look at the smaller people that he's given a chance to. I mean, not even small people, but just people that aren't monsters, aren't 6'5" or whatever. And pretty much every time there's a reason for it. Pretty much every time he's had to be convinced, or there's been a steroid trial, or whatever it might have been. There's always been something going on. So, don't know, man. I just think that it's hard, isn't it? If you've got a certain mindset on something, it's hard to kind of change your perspective. And I think the airport test is very important. The airport test is, if this person walks through an airport, would heads turn? Would the other passengers in the airport go, look at that guy? Would they stop what they're doing and go, wow? Because certainly Hogan had that, Warrior had that, Andre the Giant had that. Roman was probably got that. If Roman walks, down an airport, people would probably turn their heads. And that's Bobby Lashley as well, probably the same. That's very important to Vince. Luchadors don't do that, so. But Days, you heard Mason Greenwood is out of the Euros. I did. At least it's because of injury. Gareth wouldn't say whether he would have made the squad or not, but yeah, I sort of feel like he's one for the future. Of course, is someone that we were quite excited about, and we was talking about him as we were watching Man United. But sadly, Mason Greenwood couldn't be in the squad because of injury. So it is a loss, but England have got such depth, it's not a big problem, to be honest. It's not a big problem for us. We're just blessed. We really are blessed. Bert Sparks said, plus Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart are better than Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. Logan said, do you think AJ Lee could return? It's unlikely. I think it's very, very unlikely, actually. I think that she wouldn't get the same money that CM Punk would get. Like, you don't hear people chanting AJ Lee. You don't hear people, clamoring for her to come back like they do for CM Punk. So I would say that it's unlikely that she comes back. I don't think she's as big a draw as what CM Punk was. I think she's very popular. I think that she would be, it'd be awesome if she was to come back, and her coming back would probably excite me as much as CM Punk coming back, to be honest. I love AJ Lee. So it's absolutely zero shade on AJ Lee. It's just, I don't think that people are clamoring for it. You don't hear any chants for it. You don't see any trend. It's not like she trends like CM Punk, or, it's not as if she's constantly have to answer, or she's not linked to rumors. Whenever it's AEW have got a big surprise, then someone somewhere is mentioning CM Punk. they're not mentioning AJ Lee. And to be honest, I think she's just moved on. I mean, she's writing screenplays, she's writing books, she's doing stuff on mental health, she's doing meet and greet, she was doing comics. I really think that she's hung her boots up. I just can't picture her coming back. I can't picture her, like... Could she come back? If CM Punk comes back, could she come back for a one-off just to say hello to the fans again? Maybe a Rumble appearance. Maybe. I could maybe see that. But I think CM Punk would have to have come back for her to feel comfortable. I think that it would have to be something like a Rumble. I don't think she would look to work a long program. I just think, honestly, she's on to new things. She's doing different things. And I can't see it now. I can't see it. Jim says, with Lio Rush in AEW, do you think AEW would start a cruiserweight division? That could be good. That was always a big success, wasn't it? I mean, you'll know this, Jim. It was a big success of WCW. Their cruiserweight division with the likes of... Eddie, Ray, so on. So, I kind of feel that Tony is such a fan of WCW. Apparently, it was, like, one of his favourite promotions as he was growing up. He, loved what they were doing. He's, big fan of Eric Bischoff. Obviously, Jericho's around as well, and... Yeah, I think I could definitely see him taking a leaf out of the book and having a cruiserweight division, definitely. Because I think they did a lot of heavy lifting. And actually, with Jericho being around, Jericho would be a great person to kind of oversee that cruiserweight division. He could really do a lot of he could do maybe not the booking, because he probably wouldn't want that responsibility, but just the advice and everything that he could provide for a cruiserweight division would be absolutely invaluable. So, yeah, I could definitely see it happening. Plus, and it allows them to introduce a new belt. If there's one thing that AEW love doing, it's bringing in new belts. Woo! Brand new belt for AEW. So, that'll get them excited. So, yeah, I can definitely see it. It's a really good point. Lauren said, what stream will be tomorrow? The England friendly or something else? Do we have AEW tomorrow? If we don't have AEW, then I'm quite up for doing the England friendly, in all fairness. England against Austria, just a little warm-up for the Euros. We are literally about, 9 days away from the Euros. So England are actually playing a football game tomorrow. Just as a little warm-up. It's not anything important, but... just give us an idea of, who's fit, who's starting, what shape is Gareth Southgate looking to play, so on. It's a game that I'd be interested in watching. But yeah, I don't know if it's AEW or not. Because if it's AEW, we'll just do that. Taboy said AEW is on Friday. Okay, well, there's a good chance we do the England game then. There's a good chance we do that. Days, I'm going to ask you the hardest question you've ever received in your entire life. This heel Alexa or the old heel Alexa, which is better? This has to be so hard for you. Harley, you know me so well. You know me so well that question is very difficult for me. And I think you know me so well, you already know the answer as to what I would personally say. Yeah, I've. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I don't want to spend too long on this subject because mainly there's a good chance that I'll trash the room. But it's easily the old Alexa for me. Easily the old Alexa. Every time we talk about Alexa, I do always think of Brady. Brady always gets in touch with me. I've got so much, can I just say this? I've got so much respect for Brady. Brady is a member of our community that is a massive Alexa Bliss fan. And he watches the streams. He is very active on Twitter and constantly gets in touch with me. and says, like, I really like tonight's Alexa's segment and all this. And I sent a retweet out because, again, after last night, Brady was like, I loved that Alexa segment. I was like, Brady, I know you did. I know you always do, Brady. I'm pretty sure she could just come onto screen and spit on the camera and you'd be like, that's the best thing ever. But I got so much respect for Brady because I trash Alexa hard, but he still sticks around, man. He still sticks around and puts his points across and explains why she's brilliant and all of this. I've got a lot of respect for people that have the ability to listen to a different opinion and still like stick around, get their opinion across as well, which he does. You know, he sends me DMs and tweets me and whatever. So he makes sure that I know his opinion on it. But I got a lot of respect for people that have that ability, because it's hard. It's really, really hard. It is really hard. Like, could you imagine someone trying to explain to me why Bad Bunny has been amazing for wrestling and all this kind of stuff? Like, it's when you're so like, it's really hard to see other perspectives. So I got a lot of respect for that. So, but in answer to that question, the old Alexa for me, I'm not a fan of supernatural stuff, and I've got a lot of respect for Alexa, right? This might surprise you. I've got a lot of respect for Alexa because she was in NXT when the Four Horsewomen were in NXT, and she wasn't a member of them. So she was she wasn't Sasha, she wasn't Becky, she wasn't Bayley, she wasn't Charlotte. She wasn't in that group. She was but she was there at the same time. So I've got a lot of respect for the fact that she came up at that time. There's reports that she had fallings out with quite a few of those people. And I think that the fact that she was able to kind of find her own way without that support group, I think is admirable. I think it's to be applauded. I think she really did have to fight and work hard to get where she got. And I'm not saying that those women didn't, but I think they had each other in a way that I don't think Alexa had. And I don't quite know why. I don't quite know why she wasn't in that group. I don't quite know why it wasn't the 5 horsewomen. Why wasn't it the 5? Why was it the 4 horsewomen and not the 5 horsewomen? I know it plays on the 4 horsemen, but it doesn't have to. You could easily have done 5 horsewomen this time rather than 4. I don't think that was the reason. She just wasn't part of that group for whatever reason, and I got a lot of respect that she found her own way. So I thought the fact that she was the goddess, she used to dress up as, she had dressed up as like Harley Quinn sometimes. She'd dress up as Freddy Krueger sometimes. She was obviously in the Blake and Murphy tag team. She had some good matches, went on, became champion, all that kind of stuff. I kind of felt like there was still so much more you could have done and explored with that. And now, just drastically changed into a different direction. So, and a direction that I don't personally appreciate. So, or, respect or am into. It's just not aimed at me. So, yeah, I do miss the other one. I do miss the older Alexa. I liked the older Alexa. I had respect for the older Alexa. But you got to do what you're asked to do, ain't you? I mean, who knows? She might hate it as well. I've got no idea. This might not be what she wants to do. But if Vince asks you to do something, it's not a great career move to say no. Austin said she showed that you don't need to be a 4 horsewoman to get success. Habib said, how do you tolerate Raw for 3 hours? Share some tips. Do you know what? This is going to sound mushy. It's going to sound lame. It's going to sound cringe. But it's the chat. Straight up. 100%. I could not be more honest if I tried. If I was not streaming and I was not talking to you guys, I would not be watching Raw. I wouldn't. Because, do you know, I was lying in bed thinking about this. Like, when you're in bed and you just like, like trying to get to sleep. You can't quite get to sleep. And I was just thinking about the show. I was thinking about Raw. I was thinking about the moan meter. I was thinking about all that's running through my head as I was like trying to get to sleep. And it suddenly dawned on me, like, it's like, do you know what? Every single week we say this show's not great. Every single week we moan about it, or I moan about it. Hence why we had to introduce a moan meter, right? So you go through all of that. And I was like, if I wasn't streaming this, if it wasn't for this community, if it weren't for you guys, I would not watch Raw. There is no way that I would watch Raw now. Because you get one life on this planet. You get one life. I mean, granted, you might get more, I don't know. But as far as I know, you get one life. So time is very precious. Do you know what I mean? Time is very, very precious. We can all choose to do so many things with our lives and so many things with our time. That, you know, you could go out with friends, you could, you know, play a sport, you could get a new hobby, you could go out and meet some new people, or just go out with family, you could play a game, you could watch a film, you could start knitting, you could do anything, right? But yet we choose to spend 3 hours every single week watching Raw. And it really has got to the point now where it's so consistently poor, I would have given up by now. And if it means that I missed the return of The Rock, well, do you know what? I'll catch that clip on YouTube. I'll catch it on YouTube. I'll catch. I'm sure social media will share the moment for me. Will it feel as special or as big? No, maybe not, because I know it's happened. So as a result, I'm going and I'm not going to feel that same shock. So, but I'm at the point now where I don't even know if it's worth it anymore. Having to sit through 3 hours of bad programming week after week after week after week after week on the off chance that something good is going to happen, on the rare chance that something good's going to happen, I think I've got to the point where I'm like, yeah, I would have walked away by now. So I can't give you any tips as to how to get through Raw. The only thing I can say is that this community is what does it for me. We literally suffer together. Because so many people have said, like, you know, look, if you don't enjoy it, why do you even watch it? And it's a good point. It's a really good point. And I've come to the conclusion that if it wasn't for this channel, I wouldn't. So you guys get me through. And that's why we have a moan meter. Otherwise, I'd sit here and I'd just be complaining all the time. Just holding out hope for when the pandemic ends and we get the crowds back. That's what I'm doing. I'm holding out that hope. I'm drowning in hopium. I do think that there's a chance it will get better. I'm not, like, totally down on wrestling. I'm just down on Raw. And I'm certainly not down on NXT, and that begins now. So if you are just joining us, big shout out, NXT begins. And hopefully it's going to be a good show. Lineup looks all right. Rumours that there could be something major in the works. Fans don't like Roman because he uses help in every match. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's true. I see a lot of praise for Roman online. He does get help, but he's had some clean wins. He beat Daniel clean, which was a massive win for him to get rid of Daniel Bryan. That didn't have any outside interference. Plus, you know, if ever he does get any outside interference, that is very much a heelish thing to do. Right, we've just got a little video package showing what we can expect tonight. I'm just sending out a little tweet for any stragglers that may not have joined us yet, but we will be going to the action very, very soon. NXT. The pandemic will end when the governments say it's over. God, I really need it. I really need this thing done. I know we all do, but how much of a difference was it seeing those fans? Those fans at Double or Nothing were absolutely fantastic. They stole the show. The fans stole the show at Double or Nothing. And we need that. We need fans that are that excited as well. We need fans that are that into the product. We don't just need fans. We don't need fans sitting there, like, you know, applaud. We need fans that are going to be vocal. We need fans that are going to be chanting. We need fans that are going to be bringing a party atmosphere. And that's what AEW managed to get. It felt like a party. Dave Meltzer said something quite interesting. Dave Meltzer said, AEW, when you watched Double or Nothing, it felt like somewhere that you wanted to be. It felt like somewhere that you'd want to go to with friends. It felt like a party. It felt like a carnival. It felt like there was some fun happening that you'd want to be a part of. You absolutely cannot say that about Raw. Absolutely cannot say that about Raw at the moment. But hopefully that changes, of course. Dunne versus O'Reilly. O'Reilly versus... Who's the other one? Dunne, O'Reilly, and Gargano. Gargano. And in fact, it's Gargano that's coming out right now with Austin Theory. Dunne, O'Reilly, and Gargano. Put some respect on Raw. It's hard. It's getting harder and harder. Do you know, I was thinking this as well, again, when I was lying in bed. And I was thinking about the score that I gave it. I gave it a 3. And I remember a few weeks ago I gave an episode, I think it was a 5 or something. And I was like, do you know what? It might not have gotten, like, worse than a few weeks ago. But I think what really stood out this week was the fact that it had to follow AEW Double or Nothing. And I think you watch AEW Double or Nothing, you see the passion from the crowd. You see the surprises of, like, Mark Henry coming out, Lio Rush coming out. You see the variety in matches. Now, I know this is a pay-per-view, and I know they charged for it, right? I know that. But the fact then that you go to the next night and it's the Thunderdome and it's rematches and it's matches that no one cares about and it's 3 hours long and it's dragging and it's boring and it's like, I just think that it felt worse this week for me. Raw genuinely felt worse this week than it had for a long time. And I really think it's because it had to follow AEW. We'd seen this fantastic thing the night before, and then we got that Raw. And I don't even know if it's a worse Raw than usual, but I just think that it had to follow that, and it really stuck out. Right, we're underway with our first match of NXT. Harley said, Alexa isn't a part of the Horsewomen, and she is the most accomplished woman on the roster. 5-time women's champ, 2-time tag champ. She's a Grand Slam champ. She's the first woman to win a chamber, the only woman to host Mania. She's a Money in the Bank winner, and more. Bunker said, I gave Raw a 3.7. Jim said, maybe Raw should move to Fox, and Steph could be a step closer to being a Disney princess. Brony said, Johnny should win this match. Kyle has had so many opportunities at the NXT title. Well, Pete Dunne is... that's enough about Raw. So we've done our complaining about Raw. We're now going to be focused on tonight's show, NXT. And we're starting off, honestly, with the match that I thought was going to be the main event. I'm not too sure what the main event will be now. Knee bar applied. So Dunne has now got O'Reilly's arm. Dunne's got over to the ropes. The WWE Raw creative is lame. It's hard to know who to blame. It could be them, or it could be Vince. Or it could be the fact that USA Network don't get as involved as what Fox do. And I've got a sneaky suspicion it could be something along those lines. I really think Fox are a bit more vocal about what they like and what they don't like. And I think USA just allow WWE to pretty much do what they want. Nice head scissor takedown by Johnny. Oh, he went for a hip toss there, but Pete Dunne moves out the way. Pete Dunne looking to put on a surfboard stretch. He pulls back on the nose of Johnny and he twists the ear. Kyle O'Reilly comes in and kicks Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne goes to the outside. Forearm strike by Johnny. Knee strike by O'Reilly. So Kyle O'Reilly in his blue camo. I kind of feel that Johnny's ring attire is a little boring. I know it's themed, but it's just black and grey, and it's a little bit boring. I like Kyle's. Kyle's is cool. Like, the blue camo looks quite striking. Laurie, I'll send you a whole box. Grimes versus DiBiase, $1 million championship. Honestly, I would have chosen Miss. Have a few beers, play some Xbox. William, I hope you are well. The tag titles will be the main event, says Knob Freeze. Days even before the COVID, it seems like there was no audience in the live show of Raw. Hardly Raw can connect with people. On the other hand, look at AEW. Fans really enjoy that. Back elbow by Johnny. Forearm strike by Kyle. Uppercut by Johnny. O'Reilly grabbing leg, looking for a double dragon screw on Gargano and Dunne. Ankle lock by Kyle O'Reilly. Reversed by Pete Dunne. Through the ropes goes Pete Dunne to the outside. Forearm strike by Johnny Gargano. Gargano jumps up. Duck underneath. Top rope enziguri. Tries for a DDT. Pete Dunne grabs the arm of Johnny. Dragon screw to Pete Dunne. Gargano kick to the midsection of O'Reilly. Drop kick to Pete Dunne. DDT to O'Reilly. Goes for the pin. 2. Kick out. Kick out by O'Reilly. Gargano was in control. And we go to commercial break. It's all right so far. Fast-paced. It's all right. Those kids act dumb, says, shout out to Roman. He's really carrying the current product. He's got the look and the appeal. It's sad that WWE has got no one on the same level as him in the works. What is everyone's favourite cartoon character? Asks Miss Clown One. Favourite cartoon character? I actually don't know mine. I don't know if I've got a favourite. Favourite cartoon character? It's a good match so far, says Brony. Bembo said Days Lingard might play tomorrow. Because the players didn't make the cut, still be involved. There's an injury. That is so strange. That's so strange. I can't quite get my head around it. Because if you've got an injury in your 26, that's the whole reason you've got 26 players. Like, this idea that you're going to play Lingard because he's a standby player and you might need him is rubbish. I like Gareth Southgate, the England manager, but I think that is just ridiculous. I think it's stupid. Because what if Lingard does amazing? Everyone's going to be like, we should have took Lingard. Why aren't we taking Lingard? It doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. The reason why you pick 26 is so that you've got your first 11 If there's any injuries, then you've still got 15 players to choose from. That's the whole reason why there's 26. So if Sancho is injured and you've got a few injury problems, that's why you've got the 26. Why are you then selecting someone that's not made the 26? He can say what he wants, right? I don't quite get my head around his thinking. He can say what he wants. He can say he's on standby, and if we need him, then we're going to... It doesn't make any sense to me. I would not be doing that. Thank you very much. You haven't quite made the cut. You are on standby. If we need you, we'll be in touch. Could we need him? Maybe. I mean, it is COVID, but all eyes right now should be on that 26. And we should be focused, and they should all be getting the same messages, and they should all be getting ready for the Euros, and taking someone that's not even going. It doesn't make any sense. Jim says, when I think about it, I'm surprised that WWE didn't go with Disney Plus or even Netflix with buying the network, since both have a bigger reach. I don't know what the deals were. I don't know what the offers were. I mean, there was definite interest, but I don't know if there was a concrete bid that was put in, and also what the financials would have been. They've clearly gone with what they feel is, maybe the more money. Maybe it's just come down to that. What's going to give them the more money? I don't know, to be honest, if they're looking at ways of getting more of a reach and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if they're just looking at the money now, and just trying to get as much as they can, or what were they looking at reach? Because if they were looking at reach, you're right. Disney Plus, you would think, would be better than going with Peacock. Netflix certainly would. Daniel said, I've got The Ultimate Fighter recorded tonight. It's on every Tuesday at 10:30 on BT Sport 3, with the first episode just happened tonight. Yeah, I'm a bit gutted by that, because there's no way that I can start adding that in as well. There's just too much stuff to stream. I would love to watch it, and I will try and catch up on it. I think there's a catch-up thing. I hope there's a catch-up thing. I'm sure it'll get played again. So, I definitely want to watch it. We are back to NXT. Amazingly, we're already an hour and 15 minutes into the stream. So, but we are back with NXT, and Kyle O'Reilly going for the pin on Pete Dunne. We've got hour and 45 left, 15 minutes into this show. Big opening first match. Winner of this will get an opportunity at Karrion Kross's title, the NXT Championship. Kicked by Pete Dunne. Bembo said, have you heard that Sol wants to move to Man United from Atletico? If you don't know, he's 26. Midfielder, very good box-to-box. He's like Jorginho from Chelsea. Yeah, I have heard this. He is someone that would be a great replacement for Pogba. I don't think he is the defensively minded midfielder that we need, to be honest. I think he is a box-to-box, which is what we've got that in Pogba, and we've got that in McTominay, and we've got that in, quite a few players. Van der Beek, McTominay, Pogba, they can all do that job. We need a defensive midfielder. So, I don't know if I'd go that way. He might be really good defensively. I'm not that sure. I don't watch La Liga. I don't really get a chance to watch the Premier League, in all fairness. So I know of him, and I know of him as a box-to-box. Days, AEW moved to TBS on Friday. Do you see Friday Night Wars between AEW and SmackDown? No, not yet. They could do eventually, but SmackDown is too far away. SmackDown gets around 2 million, and AEW, they did Dynamite on Friday, and it got 500,000 So they've got a lot of work to do. They're struggling. They're struggling at the moment to hit 1 million on a Wednesday. So for them to try and get 2 million and make this a war on a Friday, not yet. Not for a long time. Nice work there by Dunne. He plants Johnny. Johnny gets his shoulder up, though. Williams. It was announced this match was supposed to be commercial free. They lied, says Brian. Williams says, do you remember when Bliss gave a doll to Nikki when Nikki was in a cage a lot and it was Lily? What? No. Standing Kimura by Pete Dunne. Days, if MSK never should have made their debut for the men's Dusty Cup, Breezango should have won that. Johnny rolls up Kyle to kick out by Kyle. Kick by Gargano and knee hook, heel hook, whatever that is. It's a knee hook, heel hook, whatever that move is, says Wade Barrett. DDT absolutely spikes Pete Dunne. Scoops up Pete Dunne. Looks for... Oh, my God. Pete Dunne was just hurled in the corner. I think his head did hit Kyle O'Reilly's head. That looked nasty. This... I've got to tell you, you know what I'm going to say. Matches that go 1 million miles an hour like this, they don't really do it for me. I think it hit his shoulder, actually. So he lawn darted Pete Dunne. I think Pete Dunne's head went into the shoulder of Kyle O'Reilly. The Double or Nothing crowd reminded me of an ECW crowd and how invested they were with the whole show. All right, Carl's coming back in. Mamma Mia, says Aiden. Kick by Kyle. Right, thankfully everyone looks like they're all right. Days, so basically you like matches that are slow as a turtle. No, I just don't like them when they go 100 miles an hour from start to finish. It's so difficult to take in what you're seeing because there's so much that's in this match, but it's hard to appreciate it all because whilst you're like going, wow, did you see that? Well, you're onto something else. It's like double clothesline, I mean, but this just quickly follows that spot that's in the corner that follows... It's the criticism I have with the Young Bucks, where the Young Bucks try to do every move in wrestling in a match. It's kind of what we're getting here. There's definitely people that like this and are really into this, and the crowd are chanting this is awesome. But I gotta tell you, it's not doing it for me. I'll quite happily take a moan away for that. I'm not saying it's trash or anything. I'm not saying this is like one of the worst things I've ever seen. No, absolutely not. I get that it's good, but it's not the kind of thing that I enjoy. I've said it before, so it won't be anything new to anyone. But no, I don't like wrestling that's like slow as a turtle. I just like it so that you can actually watch a moment and like see a replay on it and appreciate it. You know, think about Undertaker Shawn. That wasn't like spot after spot after spot after spot after spot after spot after spot. And that's regarded as one of the greatest matches of all time. Kyle O'Reilly's gone to the outside. We've got Dunne looking for the bitter end to Gargano. Kyle O'Reilly goes up top. Knee strike to Dunne. This match is great, says Taboy. Days, is viewership only counted on the people that watch the live show? How do they work it out? Habib, I think what they do is I think the Nelson rating is, I believe it's still done this way. There's like so many people in America that have got a box, and this box records what they watch, and then that data is sent back. And say there's, I don't know, 100,000 people with this box. They basically get a reading for that. That tells them what the country is watching, and it's done that way. So you watching doesn't, to my knowledge, doesn't affect the rating. They don't know what everyone is watching. It's all to do with these people that have these certain boxes that sign up for this certain scheme. Adam Cole has come down and starts pounding away on Kyle O'Reilly, starts beating up on Pete Dunne. He's chucked a chair. He drives Pete Dunne back into the barricade. It's like a brain buster on the outside. So everything we just saw has been irrelevant, because Adam Cole is now just laying everyone out. I'll take it down again, because I think this is just... So that's like 23 minutes of watching like just a million miles an hour moves, all this kind of stuff, and then Adam Cole comes down and the whole thing's irrelevant anyway. William Regal's come down. He kicks Kyle O'Reilly. Security are escorting Adam Cole away, and I genuinely don't know if this match is going to continue. I hope that it does, because if they just throw that match away, that's going to be annoying. And hopefully Adam Cole gets like suspended or something like this as well. Because one thing I do like about NXT is, you know, they do apply logic. So, you know, William Regal's come down. He's got a face like thunder. He's very upset with Adam Cole. And there's every chance Adam Cole gets like suspended now, or something along those lines. And he absolutely should. He absolutely should. Because this is on TV. It's being beamed around the world. It's to establish the number one contender. We've just watched a 20-minute match, and now he's come down and potentially just ruined it all. So he should get suspended for that. We'll have to see what happens, but I can tell you, William Regal is not a happy boy. Not a happy boy. I like the matches for the same reason I like Colby, Usman, Bonnen, Griffin, Tony, and fast-paced non-stop action. I don't like it. I don't like it. As I said, I like to be able to take in. I just can't get into those matches. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm watching it, and it's just move, but I don't feel any connection to it. I'm not like drawn in. I'm not losing my mind. It's just like big spot. But I can't. It's hard to tell you what's happening and keep up, because by the time I'm like beginning to tell you of something, they've done it and they're moving on to the next thing, and it's overkill. It's too much of a good thing, for me. But I appreciate that there's people that like different kinds of wrestling. So certainly, as I said before, I'm not saying this is a bad match, but certainly not a match that I'm crazy on. But you do tend to get this with the opening matches where they're like really fast-paced, because it's kind of gets the crowd fired up, and you tend to see it from like tag teams, to be honest. And I'm kind of surprised that the tag title match isn't the first match, and then they save this one for later. But maybe there's a bit of a storyline that's going to be at play here, what with Adam Cole coming down. So we'll find out. We'll see. We'll see where they go with it. As I said, I'd like to see Adam Cole get suspended. There's got to be some repercussion for it. You get paid a month here in the US for being a Nielsen family. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't quite know how it works or if that is still the system, but certainly if you found a report that people are getting paid to be one of those families, that would suggest that they are. And then out of that, say, 100,000, they're able to go, well, 50% watch this, 10% watch that, so on, so on, so on. They can work it out that way. Right, we're just seeing William Regal and the security with Adam Cole at the top of the entrance ramp. William Regal with gritted teeth now. Ember Moon's coming down. Okay. All right, well, Ember's in the ring. It looks like that match has finished. The other participants have vanished. Ember said that she will hold the show hostage until Raquel Gonzalez comes down. Ember Moon promo. Right, now William Regal is trying to keep Raquel Gonzalez from getting into the ring. She gets into the ring. And that's it's broken into a brawl between Raquel Gonzalez and Ember Moon. And now security are trying to grab a hold of Raquel Gonzalez. Pretty much the whole NXT locker room's just going to be outside the building very soon. Everyone's getting escorted out. Obviously, last week, Raquel Gonzalez attacked Shotzi Blackheart. Dakota Kai from behind jumps Ember Moon. Quick kicks. Ember, big kick by Dakota. Ember goes out the ring. Okay. We cancelled the match. What the hell is going on? I'm ready for UFC, says Ryan. Right, Ember's down out the ring. Right, that's done. Now we're moving on again. We've got Legado del Fantasma earlier today with the little backstage segment. So we know that we're building towards Legado del Fantasma versus MSK. We're just seeing a little network exclusive promo from them. We're a quarter of the way through the show now. Regal can't control his own show, says Broken Dreams. Okay, so Santos Escobar says we're going to do what we do best, and that is take what is as. Right, LA Knight is making his way out. So LA Knight, I think, is taking on Jake Atlas tonight. LA Knight. This is Jake Atlas. UFC and Mayweather versus Paul show starts at the same time at 12 a.m. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably watch UFC, and then I'll do what I did before, which is there'll be a little countdown clock to when the Mayweather fight starts, and then when that starts, our attention will turn to that. We did the same with Ben Askren. Did we do the same with Ben Askren and Jake Paul? I remember having a little countdown clock for one of the fights whilst we were watching UFC. Because I don't think people really care about the undercard, to be honest. LA Knight versus Jake Atlas. Yeah, we've got that coming up. Dominic says, oh no, not Jobber Atlas. Tribal Chief Roman Reigns says, I don't like LA Knight. JB17 Plays said, I wonder what will happen with the title match now. Well, I'm sure we'll hear from William Regal. He's got some decisions to make. LA Knight, yeah. Brony said, I'm guessing the main event is either going to be the women's tag match or Kushida's Open Challenge. Milwaukee, Detroit, Chicago, Tampa, Orlando, Tulsa, Charlotte, Columbia, San Antonio, Devon, San Diego, Jacksonville, Miami. All these cities have been added to the WWE tour. The WWE tour. So, new cities being added all the time. And looks like a few more just getting announced there. So, if you want to go and see WWE, then it might be worth having a look, see if they're coming in a city or a town near you. They need Dexter Lumis as a push. How come he's not a champion yet? Well, they're doing something with him and Indi Hartwell, aren't they? So, yeah, they're kind of focused on that for him at the moment. I can't believe that it's Floyd versus Logan this week, says Harley. Impressive that Days can read all of those names. I actually had to skip a couple. I couldn't read every single one that was being fired at me. What's the best match William Regal ever had? He has a great match with, is it Jericho at WrestleMania? He has great matches with Finlay as well in WCW. His matches with Finlay are probably the most iconic. But I do think about his match with Jericho. WrestleMania 17? Obviously, his famous match with Goldberg, which was part of the streak. And Goldberg thought that it was going to be a squash because he'd been squashing everyone. But William Regal was told to give him a bit of a challenge. And Goldberg, struggles against William Regal because Regal won't lie down, won't go down. Goldberg thinks he's going to, but William Regal swears that he was told backstage to give Goldberg a bit of a match. So it's not a great match, that one, but it's just a real interesting one because you know what's going on behind the scenes now. And when you go back and watch it, it's really interesting because you know they're on they've both got different ideas of how this match is meant to go. And the end result is a bit clunky and whatever, but there's a little bit of realism that sneaks in. So that's a match that I think is an important. If you want to go back and watch William Regal matches, that's an important one to watch. But yeah, his wars and feuds that he had with Fit Finlay, absolutely, they would be right up there. Harley said, Days, I got a big week. Obviously, there's SmackDown, a.k.a. The A Show. They're then going to the cinema for the first time in over a year and a half to see A Quiet Place 2. And also Floyd versus Logan. It sounds like a good week. YT, you're trash, says Days. Do you remember when the New Day were heels? Yep. They came in as heels, didn't they? When they were it was kind of like a gospel thing when the New Day first started. It definitely moved away from that. But when the New Day first started, the Titantron had the gospel choir. You know, their music's the like that. You could see the choir on screen, and it had a kind of preacher gospel kind of vibe to it. But they were heels, you would imagine. It was really weird, gospel music and all this kind of positivity and everything. But they were they were heels. And it wasn't working, and the crowd were chanting New Day sucks. And New Day tried to get them to chant New Day rocks, and the crowd weren't having it. But then, like, obviously Bootios came along, and, you know, it all kind of changed over time. They turned them face, and that was it. Clicked, and it worked, and it was brilliant for them all. We've got, is that Everrise? Hit roll, hit roll, hit roll. Hit roll, hit roll. Fresh out the studio, guys. Drake Maverick stepping up to sort of good Dane's here. I'm down for Killian Dane smacking Hit Row all around Orlando. Right, I'm down for that. The only problem is I think they'll have Dane lose. But I'm down for seeing... Hit Row are good heels, man. I'm going to give them some props. They're good heels, because I can't stand them. Every time I see them, I'm like, oh, I hate these. I just can't stand them. And they are heels. So... yeah, I'm down for seeing Dane beat up Hit Row. I nominate Hit Row as the worst faction in years. Someone's forgetting Retribution. I love Hit Row, says Justin. I love how Everrise are just instigating and observing. Annoying as hell, says Martin. Well, I think they're meant to be. I'm sure that must be what it is. They're meant to be. So, props to them. Do you know what I mean? Heels doing heelish work. I was thinking this, you know, about Frankie Monet. Because everyone was like, oh, Frankie Monet, she's amazing. She was Taya Valkyrie and all of this. No, I don't really know her. And then I was really underwhelmed with her first match. But I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I wonder if she is just doing the basics. High impact moves. She was doing clotheslines, forearm smashes, double knees. Just, you know, high impact stuff. Basically running at someone. You run at someone and you do that. You run at someone and you do... that. You run at someone and you get your knees up. Like, it's basically running and then doing something. There wasn't really much, like, wrestling. There wasn't really, like, crazy wrestling moves or anything. And I thought, I wonder if she's put on a real basic match because she doesn't want people to think she's amazing. Because she's a heel. Do you know what I mean? She's a heel. She gets the win. You're not that crazy about, like, wow, did you see this? Did you see that? Because I do think if you're a heel and you're a really good wrestler, then people are going to love you, aren't they? People are going to be like, oh, that's just so cool. So I wonder if they're trying to just dial down what the heels do so that they're not cool. Ooh, Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase's here. He's cool. He's a cool heel. DiBiase's making his way down. He's watching LA Knight against Jake Atlas. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if the crowd acknowledged Ted DiBiase in some way. There's not a DiBiase chant or nothing. Yeah, I'm going to use this as a moan. This crowd is trash. There's no atmosphere right now whilst this match is going out. Ted DiBiase's walked out. I know they've seen him before, but surely not all of them have seen him before. It's not the exact same people every week, is it? And even if it is, it's Ted DiBiase. The guy main evented WrestleMania 4. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. And he just came out and no one said a word. Honestly, it's very quiet. Days, out of 4 shows, which one is best? Mine is AEW. Yeah. So far, yeah. I mean, normally I would say NXT, because I think I've scored NXT higher over the past 18 months when they were going head-to-head. But right now, AEW's, for me, leveled up. They've gone to a different level, and NXT hasn't gone to that level. Commercial break. There's about 20 people there. Yeah, but they're not making any noise, not doing anything. What's the point in them? What's the point in them being there if you're not like they're there to provide some atmosphere? I mean, they're not there to generate money, are they? If there's around about like 100 people, you ain't making that much money off 100 people. So they're there to get some of that live atmosphere back, to generate some buzz. And that crowd, it's really quiet. Don't know. I've used the moan on it, so I'm allowed to complain about it. Again, you look at what AEW are doing. I'm sorry to keep comparing to AEW, and I appreciate that was 5,000 people, so I don't expect it to be, the volume of that show, but no reaction for the $1 Million Man coming out. Days, when is the next boxing fight? I saw you knock someone out a month ago, your last match. So when is your next and who is it against? I think you've got me confused. Knocking someone out would take skill and effort, and I don't possess either. What's the point? I don't understand people going to a show if you're not going to interact, says L. Hicks. Yeah, I agree, bud. I mean, if that was Blackpool, you could put 100 people from Blackpool in there and you would hear it. There'd be chanting, there'd be noise, there'd be... Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. Complain. I'm allowed to. I've got 10 moans. Ben White said, have you thought about dropping the wrestling from your name and just doing soccer UFC? You don't seem to enjoy the wrestling as much. I just think wrestling's in a bad place right now, genuinely. And I was talking about this earlier, saying I probably wouldn't be watching Raw if it wasn't for these streams. I do think that it can improve once we get fans back. I do think that they've probably been holding a lot back during the pandemic. I mean, with football and other sports, you don't hold anything back, do you? Because they're games. People want to win, they want to get points and all this kind of stuff. But with wrestling, it's a bit different because it's scripted. You can hold stuff back. The big returns and the big moments you can hold back for fans. Whereas, other sports obviously can't do that. They have to just play the games, and the quality of the games shouldn't really decrease. You're still going to get goals in soccer. You're still going to get touchdowns in football. You're still going to get, scores in and slam dunks and whatever in basketball. Great plays and all of that. But in wrestling, they can script it so that it does have a bit of a lull. And then as soon as fans come back, it can pick back up again. And I have to think that's what's happening. I said before, I can't remember wrestling being this bad for consistently this long. So I have to put it down to the pandemic. I have to. So no, I wouldn't look to move away. I mean, I love UFC, and there's always stuff in wrestling each week that I really enjoy. SmackDown, the Roman story is brilliant. I think AEW has stepped up. NXT is normally a show that I really enjoy. This week's not not landed for me yet. I mean, we're nearly 50 minutes in, and the first match was all right. This match is a bit throwaway. Ember Raquel thing was all right. I mean, I don't know. It's just not a week that's grabbed me. But and Raw is just Raw. I mean, I think you'd struggle to find anyone that really enjoys that. So I just think it's wrestling at the moment, to be honest. But yeah, we are looking at doing the Euros. I do enjoy watching. I really am looking forward to England this summer. So LA Knight taken down by Jake Atlas, stuck underneath, against the rope, stuck underneath again. Cross body by Jake Atlas. Going for the cover. Kick out by LA Knight. Forearm strike by Atlas. Atlas going against the ropes. Over the top to the outside. Cole should be suspended indefinitely, says Jeremy. Days, what if Eva wins the championship on your birthday? Well, when it comes to Eva, I have said, let's see what she looks like. She could have been training all this time. She could come back. She could be a good wrestler. I'm not sure that I'm expecting that. But if she is, all credit to her. I mean, honestly, if she's gone away and done the work, all credit to her. So we'll see. I mean, they showed a little montage of her training in ring and putting the work in. So let's see. Honestly, let's see. I mean, I'm not sure I'd look to put the title on her anytime soon, but we'll see what she brings. Strikes by LA Knight. He backs over to the corner. He's on the middle rope. DBRC is in deep concentration. He is on the entrance ramp just watching this play out. Nice clothesline by Jake Atlas. LA Knight goes down. Strikes coming in by Jake Atlas. Knee strike by Jake Atlas. Forearm strike by Jake Atlas. Cameron Grimes has come down. Suplex by Jake Atlas. What is the greatest UFC heavyweight fight that you ever watched? The one that always comes to mind would be Lesnar and Mia the second time. The reason why I mentioned that first, because there's been better fights, but the reason why I mentioned that first is because Brock is a big reason why I got into UFC. So I was watching it before Brock. Atlas with a stand-in moonsault. I was watching UFC before Brock, but I really paid attention when Brock joined, because that was huge for me, what with being a wrestling fan. So seeing Brock Lesnar joining UFC and like, how's he going to do and all this, it was so exciting. And he loses to Frank Mir. He gets caught. I think this is his first fight. He loses to Frank Mir. It's like a knee bar. And he ends up winning the title and getting a rematch with Mia. I just remember not knowing which way it was going to go, that fight. And it was such an important one as well. It's one of those fights that lovely work. I can't remember what he calls that. He does a cartwheel along the top rope into a DDT. So yeah, there's better main event fights, but that one is just an important one for me because I loved the fact Brock was in. He's facing someone that had already beaten him. I think Brock was champ by that point and was defending the title. I didn't have a clue which way it was going to go. And it's one of those fights that I was just so excited for. And the fight doesn't disappoint. It's a great fight. It really doesn't disappoint. But yeah, there's been better, but that's the first that comes to mind. Going Ghost said, Days, You've got a zombie in the chat. Austin has risen from the dead. He has. I just want to say I think he is a very valid member of this community. He is someone that I do have respect for. I think sometimes people can say things that they don't really mean. And, I just want to welcome him back. I want to welcome him back. No hard feelings. And I think that together we can build a better tomorrow. I really believe that. I think together we are stronger. We've got Austin Theory, and we've got Oney Lorcan pushing and shoving. We've got loads of people in the medical facility. LA Knight has just lost. We're hearing from Ted DiBiase. There's Adam Cole. Adam Cole snuck back in. And we go to commercial. Is there like some sort of clown that's like directing the show tonight? I mean, like, we've just had, like, we're hearing from Ted DiBiase. DiBiase's stumbling on his words a touch. Adam Cole walks past. So Adam Cole's back, but then we're going to commercial break. It's like, look at this, look at this, look at this. Like this. I don't know what's happened to tonight's show. I don't know if Triple H isn't around and someone else is in charge. I don't know if someone's like a little overexcited or what's going on. But this show is just below what I usually would expect. I mean, Ted DiBiase was in the middle of a promo, stumbles his words a little bit. Adam Cole walks past. The camera focuses on Adam Cole, ignores DiBiase, a legend, Hall of Famer, ignores him. And before you even get a chance to see what Adam Cole's going away, we go to commercial break. It's a bit clunky tonight. Who's the lady in yellow? I forget her name. Mackenzie, is it maybe? Someone Mackenzie? Days, one day, will you do a play-along with a video game? I honestly don't know, buddy. I can't answer that. I did download Battlegrounds. I did buy a capture card, and I did have intentions of doing a few things, but it didn't play out that way. I ended up not doing anything. It's what happens when you let inmates run the asylum, says Big Guy. We went to commercial while they were saying, OMG, it's Adam Cole. Jeremy said, Cole wants the NXT championship for himself. That's all he wants. Harley said, Days. Austin said, Deeb sucks earlier. He won't do that. He wouldn't do that. He's learnt. There's been a lot of tears. And, I can't believe that was said. DiBiase was kind of rude when I met him. Was he? Miss Clown 1, was he? NXT in your house Sunday, June 13th, Days, 1 week from this Sunday, says Adam. I have never joined in a conversation. I never knew who he was. Do you think Daniel Bryan should go to AEW? No, personally. I mean, he could, and they would book him well, and they would treat him well, but I think that he should stay with WWE because I think they need him. I think they really need him. I think Raw needs him. I think NXT would benefit from him. But anywhere he goes will benefit for having Daniel Bryan. So, do I think he should go to AEW? I don't think he has to. I think it would help them if he did. But I think he helps NXT if he goes there. I think he helps Raw if he goes there as well. YT, you're trash, says Days should put Nia Jax with Roman because Nia is also a Samoa. The camera panning away from the $1 Million Man mid-promo reminds me of a boxing fight happening on Triller and then cutting backstage to Pete the Pratt Davidson, says Daniel. What's going on with Marty Scurll? I don't know. There was someone asked about him not long ago. And I say I don't know what the allegations were against him. I think we only spoke about that the other day, actually. Hell in a Cell is June 20th, 1 week after NXT in Your House. Jim says, Mackenzie Mitchell is the current partner of Vic Joseph and a former Impact backstage interviewer. Shout out to you, dude. I didn't know that. I didn't know she used to work for Impact. Right. I don't know what we're going to... Well, we've got Poppy. Poppy's back. The Grammy Award nominated Poppy returns to NXT next week. Adam Cole's in the ring. Can I just say, from a storyline point of view, they've had a whole commercial break to drag him out the ring. So, from a storyline kayfabe point of view, he's come walking out before a commercial break, and now the guy that interrupted the first match, the guy that William Regal is so angry with, he chucked him out the building. Right now, Adam Cole is in the ring cutting a promo, and he had a whole commercial break to be dragged out of that ring. And he's got a live microphone as well, by the way. Gotta tell you, man, I'm sorry, but if this was AEW, people would be laying into it. Poppy back next week. Adam Cole sounds like he's lost his voice or he's sick. Well, Karrion Kross has come out with Scarlett. Kross making his way down. With the... I always like it when champions wear the belts. So used to seeing them carry them on their shoulders. So, like, it's nice to see a champion actually wearing it. Looks good. Looks good around his waist. Karrion says, little man. You want to be NXT champ again? Well, I can't tell what Scarlett's done to her face. Is that, like, face paint, is it? I can't tell if it's, like... I think it is face paint. Karrion Kross said to Adam Cole, you no longer became special. Karrion Kross says, entertain me, tell me a story, Mr. Cole. He says, I'll be happy to, Mr. Overrated. There's Alexa's goo has been spat up on Scarlett. It's a good promo by Adam Cole. But Adam Cole is a good promo, so I shouldn't be too surprised. Adam Cole says, you can't hang with me, you're not on my level. You're not special. I'm special. You're just the guy that's got my property. Can't we just agree that everyone is special? Right, William Regal coming down. Cross tells Regal to shut up. Cross wants everyone in the match. It's a gamble. It's a big gamble because if he has everyone in the match and he loses, he looks like the biggest idiot in NXT. If Cross loses that match, he looks like the biggest idiot in NXT. If he wins, it does put him on a different level. So Cole jumps out the ring. He Cole throws a bottle of water at Karrion Kross. Kross shields Scarlett. Kross is sexy. He will win. Vape Ross Vape said Scarlett takes away from Kross. She's silly. We've got Indi looking glum. She's got some headphones on. And we've got Candice. Candice is like, why do we keep bringing Poppy back? I bet she wants to be the next Bad Bunny. Okay. Poppy's going to wrestle. She wants to be the next Bad Bunny. Indi looks depressed, says Brad G. Have I missed much? Yeah. Right, we are getting towards the halftime scores. Someone's answered Kushida's open challenge. You might know this guy as Christian Casanova, but now he's known as what? Carmelo? Carmelo Hayes? Carmelo Hayes? What's going on with the names? Did they sit down and go, right, guys, we need a wrestling name. Oh, we need a wrestling name. What can we do? Just think of two wrestlers and we'll put their names together. Two wrestlers, go. Carmella. Okay. And next wrestler, go. Michael P.S. Hayes. Okay. Well, it's a guy, so we can't have Carmella Hayes. Carmelo Hayes? Should we go Carmelo Hayes? Carmelo Hayes? Should we go with that name? Yeah, fine. What's the alternative? We haven't got one. Well, it'll have to be Carmelo Hayes then. I'm sorry, but Carmelo Hayes sounds like a Ben & Jerry's flavour. Oh my god! I just can't cope with this show. Carmelo Hayes. I swear I've had it. I think that was a moan. I've took it down. Right. Get in your halftime scores. Halftime scores. Shaquem says 5. Brony says 7. That could be his real name. Wow, if he's watching. Stupid real name. Halftime scores. 5.5 says Austin. 5.5 says Alexander. Brony says 7. Lauren says 7. Big Boy Dally says 6.25. Mark Clark says 7. Dylan says 7. Pro Skills says 6.5. Scott Turner says 6. Broken Dreams says 6. 1987 Big Fan says 6.5. Jordan says 5.5. Brony says 7. Jimmy says 4.5. Martin says 5. Brendan says 9. Austin 5.5. Scott Turner says 6. To be honest, these scores are lower. These scores are definitely lower than what we normally see. 5.5 from Magic, 4 from Sam, 5 from Robert, 6.5 from Bryce, 1 from YT or Trash, 6.5 from JP, 6.5 from Heel Santa, 3 from Devante, 5.5 from Daniel. Can I just tell you, look, I'm going to show you. Yeah? That's what I've got written down. And I always just try and gauge where I am at the halftime point. And that's what I wrote down. And I wrote that down and I was like, that's low. I mean, that feels quite low. Let's see what the chat says. Honestly, 5.5, 6, Magic with a 5.5, Crazy Ginger, Jake Holden with a 5. I'm right there with you guys. I'm right there. There's a few 7s, a few 6s, but we're getting a few 4s and a few 5s as well. Ricky KV with a 5, John with a 7, William with a 7.8, Daniel 5.5, Radio Active Bun with a 4, WWE TJ 8 with a 5. Honestly, I'm right there with you guys. I think it's just, I'm going to put this down to just being a bad week, to be honest. I'm just going to put this down to being a bit of a bad week. Just a bit of a misstep or whatever. It just feels a bit schizophrenic. The show feels schizophrenic to me. It feels like, I don't know if they're trying to create an energy. I don't know if they've changed their approach, because what they're trying to do is just quickly go from, right, we'll have the match, but then someone's going to interfere. We're going to take them out. And whilst we're taking them out, Ember Moon's going to come in. Then we're going to have Raquel come down. We're going to drag her away. That'll be like the first part of the show done. Then we'll go to a match. But we'll have Ted DiBiase come down. Cameron Grimes will come down. Whilst we're interviewing Ted DiBiase, we'll have Adam Cole come out. That'll take us to a break. Adam Cole will be in the ring. He can do a promo. It's so schizophrenic. Like, a lot of these segments are overlapping, but it's not, to me, making the show better. And some of the logical storytelling seems to have kind of been pushed to the side as well. For example, you know, having Adam Cole removed from the building, but then allowing him moments later to cut a promo in the ring with a microphone and not cutting him off and not stopping him after you've already chucked him out the building. Does feel a bit schizophrenic this week. It's all over the place. But I think it's been done on purpose. I don't think, like, things are out of control. I don't think they've lost control of the show or anything. I think it's all on purpose, and I think they're trying to create an energy. I think they're trying to create like this segment bleeds into that segment kind of a thing. So I will say it's interesting from that point to kind of watch it and analyze it. Vape Ross Vape said NWA sent me an email to buy tickets for this week. Wow, they're desperate for you to be there, Vape Ross Vape. That's good news, though, because that would suggest there would be a crowd. And NWA needs a crowd. Right, those headphones that got put down, Dexter Lumis has picked them up. And we can see that Dexter Lumis has been crying. In your house, fatal 5-way NXT Championship match. Cole, Dunne, Cross, Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly. He's crying, says Robin. Right, Carmelo Hayes making his way down. He sounds like he could be in Hit Row, Hit Row, Hit Row. Right, Carmelo Hayes taking on Kushida. This is Kushida's open challenge. Kushida versus Carmelo Hayes. Right, I think half time. I think I got to take another one away, ain't I? I've used 6. I've used 6. In fairness, I probably shouldn't have 10 thinking about it, because I have 10 for Raw, and that's 3 hours. I probably should take some away. If it's like 3 an hour, that would be 9. So take 3 away, because this is only a 2-hour show. I have 10 for Raw. In all fairness, I have 10 for Raw, and that's a 3-hour show. This is only a 2-hour show, so I really should only have... I should really only have 6, but I've used 6, so I'm going to leave 1 more, because I've still got 45 minutes. I'm being fair, guys. I'm being fair. I'm playing the game fair. Right, Carmelo rolls up. I'm going to keep thinking of Carmella. I really am. Carmelo, I like his attire, though. White and gold. It's kind of classy. Yes, I would like a Carmelo latte with a shot of mocha espresso, please. Have you tried the new Carmelo lattes? Oh, to die for. Against the ropes goes Kushida, kick to the midsection. Hit roll, hit roll, hit roll. Right, Kushida in his little orange pants. Halftime scores a 3, says Bonkers. Days, do you think there are good matches for Bayley versus Io and Candice versus Liv? Sure. Yeah, I mean, all 4 of them can wrestle. There's no bad wrestlers there. It's just Liv doesn't get much opportunity. So you'd want that match to be given some time. But if it was given time, then yeah, they could put on a great match. Same with Bayley and Io. One kick out by Kushida. Carmelo's real name is Christian Brigham. Okay. Shout out to you, Brad. Against the ropes goes Kushida. Dunne15 said, I like Carmelo. His gear and theme is good. He's very confident and he's got some charisma, but his name is just nada nada na. I mean, what I will say is it's a name that I think I'll get used to. It's one of those names, for me, you first hear it and you go, I've never heard it before. I've never heard of Carmelo. I've never heard that name. It could be a name that exists. I honestly don't know. It does feel like we're just making up words now. But it's not a name that I've heard before. So it makes you go, huh? But after a while, you get used to it. Nice leg drop by Carmelo. And he gets a 2 count on Kushida as we go to commercial break. We've got 40 minutes left. 40 minutes left. Days, please don't sing Elias. Please don't sing. Elias can sing more better than you. I'm just trying to live my best life. That's all I'm trying to do. Come on, Days, moan about something. I've only got one left, Bembo. I've only got one left. Brad says, Carmelo Anthony is a basketball player. I've never heard of him. Never heard of him. But if he's watching, you've got a silly name. Carmelo looks like the first actor to play Roddy in the original Iron Man movie. A lot of people saying Carmelo Anthony. He goes by the name Mello. Mello? Did you see Kane's tweet about Bears wrestling in Knox County? I didn't. No, I didn't. John says, Beth Phoenix should sing the song Rainbow Connection with the jacket that she's wearing. Days, I've heard of the name Carmelo for years. It might be more of a Western name and not a name that's in the UK. All I can tell you is I've been 21 for a long, long time here in the UK, and I have never heard the name Carmelo. I've never heard of an actor, a sports person, a singer, a politician, anything. I've never heard of anything called Carmelo in my life. I've never even heard maybe a name that's starting to get a bit popular in America or something. I have no idea. Perhaps in about 5 years' time, there'll be Carmelos running all over the place. But right now, I've never encountered one. This is my first one. And I want it to be known that I took the mick out of his name. I don't want anyone to ever forget that. Because I'm quite happy with it. Quite happy to do it. And I'd do the same to Carmelo Anthony if I ever met him. Carmelo is a stripper's name, says William. Well, we don't know what he does in his spare time. Big Boy Daddy says Carmelo is a type of tomato. Carmelo is a US candy bar. Caramel is good. Carmela is money. Carmelo, I've never heard of a Carmelo tomato. And I've never heard of the Carmelo US candy bar. I do agree that caramel is good. And Carmela used to be money, but I'm not sure if she is anymore. Ask Google for his name. I know his name. It's Carmelo. Miss Clown 1 said, it's my dad's middle name. His Italian. Is it an Italian name then? Is Carmelo like a normal name in Italy? I've never heard of it. I can't even tell you of like an Italian footballer that had it as like a first name or anything like this. It's literally the first time I've ever heard it. So if you're telling me that it's like an actual Italian name, that's quite interesting. and if it is actually your dad's middle name, that's very interesting as well. I want it known that I made fun of your dad's middle name. Right now, you'd think that I would probably backtrack and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool. No, I didn't. I'm not backtracking. It's a stupid name. Carmelo. I'm sticking by my guns here. Have you heard the name Laszlo? No, I've never heard of Laszlo. I've heard of Lazio. Bryce said, who's Bronson Reed's first challenger? Don't know yet. I'm not sure. Did someone interrupt him last week when he did his little promo thing? I can't remember anymore. There's a basketball player. Yes, I literally about 2 minutes ago heard about them for the first time. What the hell is Lazio? Did I spell it right? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know what you're on about anymore. There's an actress named Tamara Mello. If Carmelo married her, her name would be Carmelo Mello. Big Boy Dally said Santos Escobar did. Right. Okay. So there we go. Probably looking at Santos Escobar against Bronson Reed then. John said there's a... Oh, we read that one. Magic said if Carmella were twins with a boy, then her brother would be named Carmelo. Austin said you heard a name Lazio. Oh, no, it's a place. It's an Italian place. It's not a name. It sounds like a chick name. I think we've covered the name, right? I did say that it's weird when you first hear it, but it's a name that I think will grow, like you'll accept it. But this is the first time I've ever heard the name. And it just sounded weird at first to me. Right, takedown by Carmelo. Carmelo versus Reginald. Carmella is hot. Don't tell Corey Graves what I said Johnny. Days, what is the only way that you would stop watching wrestling? I think if it was to stay as it was for a good 6 months. If NXT was to decline and SmackDown declined and Raw stayed the same and we were kind of there for 6 months or so, I'd really have to look at it then. I'd really have to look at it. I couldn't cope with 3 Raws a week. I don't think anyone would. But the saving grace is that normally NXT is a really good show. I really enjoy it. SmackDown, I'm really into the Roman stuff. I thought AEW is fantastic at the weekend. So there's normally loads of really good stuff that's going on. So in order for me to stop watching everything, all of that would have to fall apart. I don't think it will. I really hope it doesn't. Hoverboard lock is applied by Kushida and Carmelo taps. He gave a good showing of himself. Considering I didn't know who he was moments ago, he gave a good showing of himself. James Chadwick said Carmela Valencia is a Colombian football player. That Sharkfest they call Monday Night Raw. Pretty good match, says Robin. AJ said, what was your thoughts on Jericho's entrance? What, the abseiling? I wasn't really a fan. I didn't think it was necessary. They're going for this big fight, stadium stampede. They're going to take on, the Pinnacle. Pinnacle rock up in, a truck. That makes sense. But, what? Inner Circle, what did they do? Get there early, set up the harnesses, and they're right, when they arrive, we'll abseil down. That's how we'll make our entrance. I mean, why would you want to go into a war being attached to ropes and abseiling down? And I don't know. It wasn't for me. I think I'm someone that really likes logic. I really struggle if we throw logic out the window. I really struggle. That's the key thing that I really enjoy. Wrestling to me, I like good characters. I like good storylines. I wouldn't just have matches. We spoke about that before. But I really like logic. And logic, to me, would say you wouldn't abseil into a Stadium Stampede match. If this is going to be the last time that you're going to be together, I don't know. I don't know that I would have done that entrance. Days, I will never stop watching WWE. Even how bad it is now, it was more better when I was in school. Yeah, we've got to put this down. We've got to put this down to the pandemic. I thought it was a bit pants. They were just sat there swinging at times, says AJ. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a disaster or anything. It wasn't like, horrific or whatever. It's not what I would have done. I think this needed to be taken seriously because the outcome was very serious. The Inner Circle could have split up. So, to me, I would have liked them to have, made a proper entrance, treated it, serious. And, in all fairness, Stadium Stampede was pretty serious. I thought it was all right. It weren't like the highlight of the show. I thought maybe Young Bucks or Serena Deeb, genuinely. I'm not just saying that because I do really like Serena Deeb. I genuinely thought those two matches were probably my two favourites. I really enjoyed the Sting match as well, though. So maybe the Sting tag match, because I thought Sting was amazing. Serena Deeb match to kickstart the night I thought was genuinely a really strong match. Or the Young Bucks match. Meltzer said he thought the Young Bucks match was a match of the year contender. Not sure. I'm really interested to see what scores he gives it, actually. I'm really interested to see what scores he gives it. Days, who would you send to NXT? Who would you put on either Raw or SmackDown? I don't know. I mean, I'd probably take Carrion. I think Carrion is someone that could work on the main roster. So I'd probably take Carrion. I know he's new. I say young, but I mean young in his WWE career. So I'd probably take Carrion and Scarlett. Put them on Raw. And I would probably take Io and put her on... or Finn. Maybe Finn. Maybe Finn to SmackDown. You could do some interesting stuff there. Or Io. The names that have been mentioned, really. I wouldn't really deviate too far from those. In regards to someone going to NXT, the easy answer would be Daniel Bryan. I think he brings a lot. If I wanted to go a little more out of the box, then I would say... Do you know, the name that's screaming at me is Sasha Banks. Isn't that weird? Sasha Banks is screaming at me. If I was going to think out of the box, Sasha Banks. And the reason why I say that is I'd have her there for about 6 months. She has got such a passionate following and passionate fan base that I really think that she would bring eyes to NXT. So she would massively help NXT with ratings. I also think that she came through NXT and she's been at the main roster. I think she's got such valuable experience. She's kind of like a mentor, but she's still young enough whereby she's a competitor as well. It's not like Natalya. If Natalya goes down, she's kind of a mentor. You don't really expect her to be winning matches and getting the better of the up-and-coming talent. But Sasha Banks is still young and, hasn't been on the main roster all that long. 6 years? Something like this. She's still, I don't know how old she is, but she's still got 10, 15 years ahead of her. So, Sasha Banks, what with her fan base, I think she would be a massive star. She would bring eyes to NXT. She'd be a real shot in the arm for that women's division. I'd only keep her there for about 6 months. She'd basically do what Finn Balor's just done. If I'm losing Balor, then I need another big name to replace Balor. And if it's not going to be Daniel Bryan, then maybe bring Sasha Banks back in NXT for about 6 months. Just means that Bianca can breathe a little bit with the SmackDown Women's Championship. Maybe find some new challengers. I kind of feel like Sasha's done a lot recently. She was with Bayley. She had the tag title run. They split apart. She had a little feud with Bayley. She then had that match with Bianca. Maybe put her down in NXT for a little while. Just like 6 months. Right, we're seeing Frankie Monet backstage. Right, Zoe Stark is in the ring with this Raina woman. Yeah, I remember her. Right. Ramia, I think her name is actually. Stark and Ramia versus The Way. This should be a good match if it gets time. Okay, so Stark and Ramia in the ring, and The Way about to make their way down. Here's Candice LeRae. Indi is... she looked a bit glum as she came walking out. I think Indi is saying, I've got this. Candice was asking you all right, and she was like, I've got this. I've got this. So Candice coming down with those wings. What is she? The Poison Pixie? Let's go Candice, says Austin. Big Boy Dally says, I bet Dexter gets involved. Zoe Stark needs a third match against Toni Storm, says JP Fawn. AJ said, would you have Cross go for the title in his first feud on Raw or go for someone like The Fiend? No, it's very difficult because, I mean, Fiend's taken, his momentum's struggling a bit. He needs wins. You can't have Cross lose as he gets to the main roster, so... I don't know that I'd have him go against The Fiend. I don't think I would put him in the title picture straight away. I think there's a lot of people that don't watch NXT, and you'd have to introduce him to that audience. I'd kind of do like someone like, say, Sheamus beating up on Humberto and Ricochet. He's panning away, lights go out, Cross's music hits, Karrion Kross walks out as Sheamus is pounding away on Humberto Carrillo and Ricochet. And someone, like, they need help. Someone needs to help them. No one's coming. And you can even have the commentators. It's wrestling 101, innit? Can we get someone out here? Can someone help these guys? Shane's pounding away. Break my nose, will you, fella? Lights go out. Cross comes down. Cross's music hits. Be awesome. And that works really well because obviously Sheamus has got the mid-card title at the moment, so it could be a little feud over the mid-card belt. Straight into a mid-card title feud. I think Sheamus would be a really great opponent for Karrion Kross as well. Imagine that match. Be absolutely awesome. So, yeah, I'd probably go that way. Right, we've got Candice in there with this Ramia. In comes Indi Hartwell. We've got 24 minutes left. It looks like MSK and Legado del Fantasma is going to be our main event. I remember when Owens beat Cena whilst he was NXT champ. It was a really good match that was as well, wasn't it? It really got everyone talking. If Bray comes back, do you think he should be the next challenger for the WWE Championship? No. He hasn't done anything to earn it, has he? What has he done to earn that? He's not been around all year. He's... only time we've seen him this year, he lost to Randy Orton. He sort of needs to rebuild. He's got to get a bit of momentum. He's got to win a few feuds and whatnot. Kicked by Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark in the ring. Nice flip by her Enziguri by Zoe Stark. Candice LeRae goes down. And Zoe going for the cover. Lovely show of frustration. She picks up Ramia. Ramia slammed on top of Candice. Austin said, I'm a huge Fiend fan. I don't want him in the title picture. What do you think of McGregor versus Poirier on July 10th? I'm leaning McGregor on that. I think McGregor, he blamed inactivity, and I do think there was something to that. I think that, he came back, he took on Cowboy Cerrone, but it's been clear that Cowboy's been in decline for a while. Poirier was always going to be a challenge because he is such a good fighter. Indi Hartwell with an elbow drop on Ramia, and the Way get the win. So yeah, I think Conor will be ready for Poirier. I don't think he'll look past him because it was meant to be Conor against Pacquiao. Like, there was talks of that, but I think he was kind of taking Poirier a little for granted. He won't this time. Yes, the Way wins, says Austin. So we're just hearing from Mercedes Martinez. Jeremy says Fiend is done. We won't see him come back as him. He will be Bray. Not sure. I don't think the Fiend's done. I don't know if Bray is struggling at the moment or what the truth is, but I think that you will see the Fiend. I can't believe this is what they had planned for him this year. I can't believe the plan for Bray this year was for him to be away for so long and for him to lose at WrestleMania. 2021 has been awful for Bray and for the Fiend. It's been even Fiend fans will say it. I'm not saying anything that other people wouldn't say. It's been a bad year for him, and obviously there's rumors as to why. So he just needs to come back, get the better of a feud, and just get up and running again. I don't think it's the end for the Fiend. Right, MSK against Legado del Fantasma is going to be our main event, and that is coming up next. Dustin is going to expose Conor's weakness again and beat him a minute into the second round, says Going Ghost. He's doing rough, so I can't see them bringing him back as the Fiend. Bring Bray back and let him ease back in and take the ball when he's ready. Yeah, but they can do that with Firefly Funhouses. Do you know what I mean? They can pre-record Firefly Funhouses and have him do promos and things along those lines. Plus, also, isn't it more comforting, maybe a bit easier to wrestle behind a mask if you're not feeling brilliant? It's kind of a protection, isn't it, in a way? I mean, if he is feeling a bit, I don't know how he's feeling, but if he is feeling like down and, he's struggling a little bit, I don't think he'll come back until he's ready. And I think even when he's back, he'll just do Firefly Funhouses for a bit. And then once he is, ready to compete, then if he's ready, then he could compete as Bray or he could compete as The Fiend. I don't think it'll be an issue for him to compete as The Fiend. And if anything, as I just said, if you're not feeling very comfortable and confident, wrestling behind a mask is, you'd think, a positive. You'd think, it would be something that would be a help rather than a hindrance. So I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see The Fiend being over. MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. Mark Clark said 2 Matches not worth takeover spots. Grimes versus Knight and Xia Li versus Mercedes. Two matches. Okay. Austin said, I've got a feeling they'll have Bray come back after Hell in a Cell or Money in the Bank, have him build up the Fiend again like they did at SummerSlam 2019, maybe a few attacks, and then he destroys his opponent at SS. I don't know, do you mean SummerSlam for SS or Survivor Series? I'm guessing you mean SummerSlam. Build him up like they did SummerSlam. Did you see Paul Woodley? Yeah, I did. There's a little poll. I haven't seen, actually. We did put it up. There's a little poll as to which way people think that match is going to go. I asked people which way did they think it would go. I asked it yesterday. The poll is still up now. You can still vote on it if you haven't voted yet. It's a poll that won't end. I think the YouTube polls just keep going, to be honest. So if you haven't voted, feel free to do that. It's very interesting, this poll. I must admit, I maybe don't use YouTube polls enough, but because I always tend to put them on Twitter. But my Twitter following, I really don't do much to build it, to be honest. I never talk about it on streams. I don't really tweet out. I just tweet out random thoughts. I don't really tweet out much stuff to try and get it to grow or anything like this. So my Twitter following's just not next to nothing. So whenever we do like a poll, we get a couple of 100 votes, whatever. But I've done this one on YouTube. It's got 2,200 votes. So I probably should do more polls on YouTube to get a bigger read of what people are thinking, because that's the whole point of it. This one, 2,200 votes. Who will win, Jake Paul or Tyron Woodley? And I can tell you that Tyron Woodley got 71% of the vote so far. 71% of the vote, Tyron Woodley. So it's 71-29 at the moment. So looks like people are feeling like Jake might have bit off a bit too much this time. Ooh, Diamond Mine opening soon. Opening soon. That's interesting, isn't it? Diamond Mine. So, opening soon goes back to what we first thought of. Is that a MMA spin-off? Then we wondered if it was going to be like a faction. But the fact it says opening soon sort of suggests that it's like NXT Underground. The Diamond Mine. That's interesting. That's a talking point. Austin, yep, shout out to you. Opening soon. Days, I agree. When I watched the Conor Dustin fight from January, before the leg kicks come into play, Dustin didn't have a lot going for him. He was getting tagged in the stand-up. Yeah, I mean, I remember Dustin looked like he was about to be put away in round one. And I really felt like he was going to be put away in round two. And then obviously the leg kicks added up and, Conor was dead in the water. So he needs to make sure that he's not getting leg kicked, and he absolutely will ensure that this time. And if he can still get his strikes off like he did in that first fight, Dustin's going to have to go through hell to get the win. Right, Santos Escobar making his way down. Austin said, I just used my Twitter to make people sad. Woodley is washed up. He got dominated in his last few UFC fights. He did. The only thing I would say is those last few UFC fights were against Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, and Gilbert Burns. He did recently take on Liu Kang and lose that as well. So I do agree that he has lost 4 in a row. but 3 of them at least are against the absolute pinnacle of that division. The absolute creme, like the very, very top of the welterweight division. And Vincent Luque is no slouch. He's a rank fighter. So, you know, we're talking Jake Paul. If Jake Paul is able to outstrike someone like Tyron Woodley, we've got to say that he's got skill. We do have to say that he's got skill. He still needs to face a boxer, right? He does still need to face a boxer, but I will acknowledge that Jake Paul has got skill if he can get past someone like Tyron Woodley. I would not want to be stepping into a boxing ring with Tyron Woodley. He's got knockout victories, and granted, he hasn't had one for a while, so Jake Paul's clever. He's just constantly taking steps up. You know, he faces a YouTuber, he faces a basketball player, he faces an MMA fighter that's not known for striking. Now he faces an MMA fighter that, you know, he's 39, he's getting towards the end of his career. He hasn't won in his last 4. But he has knocked people out before. He is the former welterweight champion. So, you know, it's that next step up for him. It's not a massive jump. It's not like he's taken on Max Holloway. But it is that next step up. Right, MSK coming down. It is the MSK versus Legado del Fantasma for the NXT Tag Team titles. Daniel said, the disrespect to Woodley. Jake has never been hit by a guy who has power or anyone who knows what they're doing boxing-wise. If Jake gets hit, let's see how his chin holds up, because Tyrone hits hard. It is true. The fact of the matter is, Jake Paul has never faced anyone that can actually strike. He's faced YouTubers that have had to learn how to strike, right? But they're not coming in with striking knowledge. He's faced Nate Robinson, who's a basketball player and, to my knowledge, has never had any kind of fights. He's faced Ben Askren, who's a wrestler. He's been in the MMA, he's been in UFC, and he's faced strikers, but he's not known for his striking. Like, you watched him train, and it was like, he's got a lot of work to do here. The thing that Ben Askren had, though, was that we thought that he had a decent chin. We thought that certainly a good enough chin to take whatever Jake Paul could throw. We all saw the knockout to Masvidal, but thought that, you know, he should be able to deal with whatever Jake Paul had. And he's an athlete. He's prepared for fights. He's used to standing opposite someone that wants to kill him. Like, you kind of felt there was a lot going for Ben Askren, but it went the way that it went. Tyron Woodley is definitely a different animal to anything Jake Paul has faced. Tyron Woodley has knockout wins on his record. Tyron Woodley has thrown his fists and knocked men out. Jake Paul has never faced that before. He's never faced anyone that's done that before. So even though Tyron Woodley has declined, and even though he might not have the greatest striking in the UFC, it's good enough to knock people out. And this is what I'm saying. If Jake Paul wins this one, I think we have to put some respect on Jake Paul's name. Yep, still not a boxer. But I would have to say he's definitely got something. To step into a boxing ring with Tyron Woodley, I wouldn't want to do it. I personally wouldn't want to do it. Maybe I would if I was getting a good few £1 million. I mean, now we're talking there's a different, you know what I mean? Give me a good year to train and a few £1 million, we'll have a different conversation. But off the top of my head, I wouldn't fancy it. Santos Escobar really enjoying what he's seeing at the moment as Legado del Fantasma going to work. Miss Clown 1 said, I'm actually interested in that fight. Crazy Ginger Jake Holden said, Woodley won't have the same power with boxing gloves. That's true. That's true. They are obviously thicker than MMA gloves, but he won't have the same power. But he will still have the same accuracy, and he will still have the same hand speed, and he will still have striking knowledge, and that really, really is something that previous opponents of Jake Paul just didn't have. It's a good fight. It's a really good fight. I think surely Woodley goes in as favourite, but there is absolutely a chance that Jake Paul wins. There is absolutely a chance. Let's go, MSK, says Sunny Wolf. How do I get more superstars to follow me on Twitter? Would you want to? In all fairness, what does it do? What does it matter? If someone follows you, what does it matter? Personally, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you want more superstars to follow you, then just, ask them to, really. Just say, hey, I'm a really big fan. I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but it'd be awesome. I'd really appreciate it if you'd follow me back. All the best. Something along those lines, Keep it short. Don't keep it... I wouldn't make it creepy. There's so many, stands out there that are like, I think you're the best thing in the world. It would make my absolute life if you would follow me and all this kind of... You don't need to go OTT like that. It comes across as a bit desperate. So, I would literally just leave it like, listen, I'd really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. I think you're absolutely awesome. I'd really appreciate it if you follow me back. Just ping it off to, loads of superstars if you want to do that. Chomper and Thatcher grab grizzled young veterans who'd made their way down. What is better, Young Bucks or Volta versus Chomper? Volta versus Chomper for me. I did really enjoy the Young Bucks match. No shade on it. But, I mean, I think Volta Chomper's my match of the year. Look out for WWE clones. Jake Paul stands a good chance versus Woodley, as Woodley does not throw combos or jabs. Jabs are the way to beat Jake Paul, and combos, as Deji exposed. Dave said, Days, will you follow your favourite YouTuber of all time? Do I not follow you? Do I not? I do follow you, don't I, Dave? Let me have a look. Surely I do. Dave. Yeah, I'll follow you. I was like, for a second then, I was like, do I not follow you? Yeah, I do. Well, I hope you are well. I hope everyone is having a good evening. We've got 5 minutes. I don't quite know what that means, in all fairness, for... Yeah, I don't quite know what that means for... Overrun. Sorry, I was distracted. I was just reading a tweet that came through. Yeah, I don't know what it means for the overrun. Is there an overrun? I mean, we've got 5 minutes, but surely we're going over for about 5 or 8 more. Instagram is really good. It's where I get a lot of info. It's where I have exchanges with wrestlers, says Jeremy. Robert, shout out to you, buddy. Appreciate the kind words. Days, why... Hello, where did that go? Days, why aren't you following LSW on Twitter? Oh, do I not follow you on Twitter? Listen, if you do what I just said, tag me and just say, I'd really appreciate it if you follow me. I'll follow you. I do follow you, you muppet. I am following you. I was joking. Oh, okay. Jordan says, can you follow me? Yes, but you'll need to tweet me so that I can find the right account to follow back. So send me a tweet and I'll happily follow you. Days, you don't know who you follow? I ain't got a clue. When someone follows me, I just follow them back. It's kind of like a nice thing to do, isn't it, really? Like, I appreciate you following me, so as a little thank you, I'll follow you back. But people can follow me whilst I'm asleep, or they can follow me, like, if someone followed me now, I can't guarantee that I'll, be able to go back and see that that's happened and follow them back. So if ever you've followed me and I haven't followed back, it's because I haven't seen that you've done it, basically. Otherwise, yeah, I do try. If ever I go through my notifications and someone follows me, I always follow them back. I do too, says LSW. Days, why aren't you following everyone in the stream? I'll do that. I'll happily do that. But I tell you what, everyone here better be following me. You'd better be following me. I said earlier I don't do enough to promote my Twitter. Let's get a follow train going, guys. I don't know what that is. But, yeah, I'll quite happily follow people on Twitter. Done. I've got them coming in now. Done. Done. There we go, look. Three people already. Will you follow me? Done. That's how I roll. Days, it wasn't Raw Underground. It was, we don't have an idea for you, so go to this random place and be a jobber show. Daniel said, really interesting, Days, is that the fight will be at 190. So Tyron will be fighting at a higher weight, meaning that he'll have more power than what he had at 170. It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it's at 190 because I think it's hard for Jake Paul to get down to 170. I think, like, Jake Paul is naturally around the 190 mark. MSK is winning this match, even though I hate that team, says Bryce. Miss Can1 said, we all follow you. Well, that's nice. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Rated R said, AEW's TV ratings have been revealed. What was that for? Was that for the pay-per-view buys? So I know their ratings from Friday was 500,000, but I haven't seen pay-per-view numbers. MSK and Fantasma both suck, says Omega Red Fan. I like MSK. I like MSK. Legado Del Fantasma are alright. I think they just get jobbed out a little bit. I would expect MSK to win this. Oh, John. John sent me a message, said, will you follow me? Shut up, John. Sam, do I not follow you, mate? Done. Right, Splash by, is that Mendoza? What's your thoughts on Shayna Baszler confronting Alexa Bliss and her stupid doll? Well, Bryce, I think I'm sensing we probably feel the same. I don't mind Shayna and Alexa, but I would want it to be a normal match. I mean, I think this is a good match for both, to be honest. I think Alexa is someone that's achieved a lot. I think she's a credible name. I think that she's someone that's been there and done it, and I think she's a really good opponent for Shayna Baszler. The problem for me comes from the fact that there is a stupid doll involved, and I have to expect that there's going to be lights out and playgrounds appearing and rocking horses appearing and pyro shooting off in the corners and legs buckling and black goo being thrown up, and it just stops being worth anything in my opinion. So if it was just like Alexa versus Shayna, I'd be all over it. I'd be like, this is great. I'd love to see that. A normal straight up match between them two, I'd love to see. I think it'd be brilliant. But we ain't gonna get that, are we? We ain't gonna get that. Nice roll by Nash Carter, is it? Tags in Wesley. One, two, Kick out by Legado Del Fantasma. We got a few minutes to go. I can see Alexa and Shayna at Hell in a Cell, says Bryce. William says, a normal match with Bliss. Yeah, it used to be a thing. How would you feel if WWE made Lily on a pole match? If it's a normal match, I'd be okay with it. It's a little bit silly, them both trying to... The winner is the one that gets a doll first. It's a little bit silly. But if it results in it being a normal match and the winner is the first one to get Lily, I can go that far. 1, 2, shoulder up. I just want Bray back, says Austin. Right. Forearm strike. Into the corner. Mendoza colliding into Wesley. So, Legado del Fantasma colliding into Wesley, who's in the corner. This match has been alright. Who do you think of this match? What do you think of this? This match has been alright. It's been alright. I've been chatting with you guys, but I have been keeping an eye on it. Shoulder up. I mean, in all fairness, I do expect the million miles an hour stuff from these tag teams. Mendoza shouting at Wesley. Wesley goes out the ring. Who would you want to see a normal match between the two? In a normal match, Shayna would win under 2 minutes. Well, you say that, but there's obviously... Alexa's got skills. She can do some stuff in the ring. She is a little bit on the small side, and Shayna is a former, UFC fighter, but they never really, go into that, do they? They never really talk about her history and her MMA credibilities. So I think the fact that Alexa is like a former champion, multiple-time champion, they would book it to be quite competitive, to be honest. Like, you would look at them and you know that Shayna's a former UFC fighter, and yeah, it would be a squash. Alexa realistically shouldn't last more than 2 minutes with Shayna. But I'd be alright with them booking it where it was a competitive match. I'd be alright with it. MSK retain. Bronson Reed attacks Santos Escobar on the outside. I feel like that match was alright. It didn't blow me away. It reminded me a bit of the first match. I thought the first match was alright. Didn't blow me away. Kind of feel like this one's quite similar. MSK win, MSK retain. Bronson Reed, yeah, MSK retain. I think we largely expected that. Brony said it was a good match, but it didn't grab my attention. Will we see a beat the clock challenge with Nikki? Oh, they're so silly, aren't they? I think I can moan about it now. They're so silly. That whole opening to Raw was trash. That whole opening to Raw, Miz TV was dull. The fact that, Nikki's coming down boasting about the fact that she wins a match, but the way she wins is she survives 2 minutes. I mean, it doesn't make Nikki look great. Nikki doesn't look brilliant at the fact she can survive 2 minutes. Against, she's in the WWE. She's meant to be a challenger. She's meant to be a competitor. She's meant to be a fighter. Think about how she was positioned when she was in Sanity. And she was off her head and crazed. And, do you know what I mean? All this stuff. And now she's celebrating the fact that she can last 2 minutes with Rhea. And she can last 2 minutes with Charlotte. I just don't feel like it's really much to gloat about. But equally, How disrespectful that, Charlotte and Rhea are, gutted they can't beat Nikki in 2 minutes. That's just awful. It's just awful. Doesn't do anything for anyone. So, yeah, I thought Miss TV was rubbish. I thought the 2-minute challenge thing is just a disgrace. I'm just really struggling with wrestling right now. Certainly what WWE are doing. I really enjoyed AEW on Sunday. A new Raw would be tough. We'll find out what you lot thought of tonight. I'm just going to have to keep my fingers crossed for SmackDown, aren't I? You should let these moans out on Raw. Why do it now? Well, I can do it now because... Do you know what? Even if I do it now and I take a moan... There we go, look. There we go. I did it now because I had a moan spare. That's why I did it now. Hey, up here for thinking, down there for dancing. Ricky says 7. Brony says 6.25. Taboy says 5. Jimmy says 4. Daniel says 5.5. LSW says 6.25. Sergey says 9. Jim said, I can see a 6-man tag for both the NXT North American and Tag Team Championships. Crazy Ginger Jake Holden says 5.5. Brony says 6.25. 8.5 from Robin. 6 from Shaquem. Dunne says 7.5. 5.5 from Crazy Ginger Jake Holden. 7 says Dan C. 5.5 from Austin. 8.25 from John. Brian with a 6. 4 from Radioactive Burn. 7 with Broken Dreams. These are a little better than where we were at the halftime scores. Sam says 5.5. Sonny says 7 to 8 out of 10. J14 says 5.75. E-Coats says 7. Scott says 7. Austin says 5.5. Bryce says 7. Let Him In says 6.5. Fun Games 123 says 6. Alexander 7.5. Brony 6.25. Dylan with a 7. J14 with a 5.75. To Boy with a 5. Brony 6.25. Fabulous Disaster 5. JJB Gaming with a 7. Right, I'm going to give this... I was at 5 at the halfway point. I think the second part of the show was a touch better. I'm going to go 5.5. I'll go 5.5. I think the second part of the show was a little better than the first. Not by much. Really doesn't move the dial. This is well below where I would want NXT. Well below where I'd want NXT. There's not really too much to me to add. I've kind of already told you my thoughts, and as I said, I think the second part, I like Indi and Candice and Zoe Stark, so I'm always going to be intrigued by their match. Thought the main event was okay. I think part of the problem is this. The main event match was all right, but it was sort of what I expected, so I don't feel disappointed by it. The first match is not my kind of match. You know this, right? Million miles an hour. I'm not a huge fan of that. Spot, right? But Adam Cole interrupting is so underwhelming that it just... You watch this match, right? So whether you like or hate the match, doesn't matter. So you watch the first match. The end. Bottom line is, it was all irrelevant anyway. So I kind of feel like that first opening is underwhelming and kind of leaves you very unsatisfied. And to be honest, the story is that it leads to a fatal 5-way, which I absolutely hate. I think if I'm a champion, I'm someone that wants to keep that title, and I would want to defend against one person. The fact that Karrion Kross is saying I'll take on all 5, as I said at the time, it's a fatal 5-way. That means that someone can pin someone else. He doesn't have to get pinned, and he loses the fight. He loses the title. From a champion's point of view, I don't really respect that. I think it's a very foolish thing to do, because he can lose the belt without losing the match. And why, as a champion, would you want to put yourself in that position? So I have to question his thought process. I have to question his intelligence, I don't think it's a wise thing to do. I think he's kind of spoken out of just give me them all. And he's not really thought it through. But I kind of don't respect that as a champion. I kind of would like a champion that's got a bit of intelligence about them. So I don't think it's a good look for Karrion to want to face all of them. I think that if he can win it, makes him look awesome. So it's kind of a high risk, high reward kind of a thing. But if he can dominate that match, be in control of that match, make sure that no one is going to pin anyone and take his title away, then, it's going to make him look good. Problem is, he's kind of wiping out a lot of contenders by beating them all. So, I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I kind of like these matches for number one contenders. I think having like 5 guys competing, the winner gets a title shot. I kind of like that. But doing it for the actual title match, nah, not a big fan. Not a big fan. So, not the match I would have booked. Certainly not the way that I would have got there. And I think that's, you kind of look at that first match and you go, yeah, but they're doing it for a story. But what if you don't like the story? And what if you don't appreciate the story? And what if you think the story makes the champion look stupid? Because that's what I think. So, I don't even like the story. So, I didn't like the process and I don't like the story. So, hence why the score's going to be low. But I think the main event kind of lived up to expectation. It was kind of where I thought it was going to be. I like Candice and Indi Hartwell. So, that was all right. And I'm sure there's other things I enjoyed. I'm sure there's other things. Just don't ask me to mention them all. Days, whoever didn't like Stadium Stampede matches are Muppet, says Johnny. Cross will retain. There won't be any new champ in a multi-man match, says Omega Red Fan. The story makes the champ look stronger because he's obviously not losing the belt. I don't know why you're looking into it that deep. Well, because that is the story. I mean, you're saying that it's going to make him look stronger because he is going to retain. I'm saying, okay, if that's what happens, then yeah, that will make him look good because he's gone in there against 4 other people and he's managed to keep his belt. So I do agree that, coming out of the match, he could look good as a result. But right now, first of all, I don't know that that's going to happen. Likely that it will. But second of all, it doesn't make him look good now. Like right now, as I'm sitting here talking to you right now, he looks like an idiot. I don't respect idiots because Pete Dunne can pin Johnny Gargano and become the new NXT champion. And Cross could have nothing to do with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, all 4 of them could gang up, beat him up, handcuff him, do whatever they want, and there's nothing then that he can do to defend his title. That just seems a bit silly to me. This is what I'm saying. I think this kind of a big multi-man match is kind of good for a number one contender. But when the actual belt is at stake, because the belt really should represent who is the best wrestler. The belt signifies who the champion is, who the best wrestler is. And I don't feel like these matches actually achieve that. These matches don't serve that purpose. Because the winner of this match is not necessarily the actual champion. The winner of this match is not necessarily the best wrestler in NXT. The winner of this match is the person that was in the right place at the right time. So this is not a match that I would look to book for a championship. And again, it goes back to what I said before. I'm not someone that's a big fan of triple threats, fatal 4-ways. They weren't a thing when I was young. Do you know what I mean? You won't find an example of Hogan, Warrior, Andre the Giant, Rick Rude, Sergeant Slaughter having a fatal 5-way back in the early 90s. It just wasn't a thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Right now, I'd have to say it doesn't make Karrion look intelligent, smart. Kind of really puts him at a disadvantage. But if he can control that match and still come out with the belt, then I do agree it does make him look quite powerful. So there could be a positive that still comes out of it. Johnny, good night to you. Daniel said, I've sent you the early betting lines for Jake Paul and Tyron fight on Twitter. Shout out to you, bud. Robin said, in his eyes, if he wins, he looks stronger. If he loses, he can make an excuse that he was pinned. Yeah, but you wouldn't want to lose the belt. If I'm Karrion Kross, I don't want to be thinking about making excuses. I don't want to be thinking about not having the belt. Like, the belt makes you the man. The belt brings you more money. In kayfabe, if you're in the main event and you're the champion, you're earning more money. Like, I have respect for people that are going to defend the belt, you know, every 30-odd days or however often you have to do that, and do it against one person and train for that match and try and defend it and try and keep it. Like, you work so hard to get the championship. To then put yourself in that kind of a situation, I personally don't respect. I don't look at Karrion Kross tonight and think, wow, what a warrior. I look at him and think, wow, what an idiot. Like, he's at a real disadvantage now, and he's put himself in that situation. This is a match that you would do and use to punish the champion. If the champion had got involved, if it was Kross that had come down and got involved in that triple threat, I would be like, this makes perfect sense. He brought this on himself. So he's made his bed, he's got to sleep in it. This is the kind of match that you book as a punishment. It's not the kind of match that I think a champion should be requesting, because the odds are he would lose the title in this match, which means he loses his main event status, he loses his extra pay, the champion's pay, he loses the title, he loses all that prestige, and he brings it on himself. And I know what you're saying, in his eyes, well, I'm just going to go and win. But in my eyes, I'm like, it makes him look a bit silly to me. I think I think this is a great way to decide a number one contender. I don't think it's a great championship stipulation. Going Ghost, sorry, I missed your super chat. Let's go up. Maybe Karrion is doing the Fatal 5-Way because he's going to get called up, and this is how they want to get the title off of him. That's interesting. That's interesting. If they're going to use this as a way of getting the title off of him, then it is right. It does allow him to say, I was never pinned. The only thing that I would come back with was, well, you also put yourself in that situation. So you can say, I never pinned, I never lost the title, but you shouldn't have put yourself in that situation in the first place. So in a way, your stupidity is what lost you the belt. So even though you weren't pinned physically, you weren't physically beaten, you was actually mentally outmaneuvered. So I feel like that's a different weakness. It's quite interesting when you sit and think it through. It's quite interesting. Or at least it is to me. But no, that's also a very interesting point. Maybe it's a way of getting the belt off of him, but to have him not actually lose. And rather than him sticking around complaining, moaning, making excuses about why he lost the belt, he actually just goes to the main roster and starts a brand new story. I wonder if it'd be a bit soon, though, but saying that, it's probably not too soon. I mean, the guy can wrestle. He's got a great entrance. Scarlett is $1 million. I mean, really, how long do they need to keep him in NXT? How long do they need to keep him down there? I don't think they need to keep him down there very long at all. And he's already had an injury, which took a bit of time away. So, yeah, that's a very interesting point. That's a very interesting point. I don't think they will. I don't think they will call him up. But it would be cool if they did. Daniel said, can we just say that John Alba is a fraud now? Because he said something massive was going to happen. And clearly I must have missed it. Hey, yeah. I don't know if he's a fraud or if the information he was given was just bad information. But I'm probably not going to be keeping an eye on him and what he's got to say, you know. It's one of those. It could just be bad information, but you do get judged by that. So I showed you where it came from. I said I didn't know anything about him. I was quite excited to see if anything came of it. I was thinking Daniel Bryan. I was wondering MLW. We didn't get anything. So has he tweeted, actually? I'd be really interested to see what he says. I'd be really interested to see what people say to him. Although, in all fairness, I think he said he didn't know what it was. So yeah, he hasn't tweeted anything. Although, I tell you what, he did tweet 50 minutes ago. This has felt like NXT's most unique episode in a long time. I do agree with that. So, he's saying that this feels like a different episode. Is he trying to spin it that this is what it was? I don't know. This has felt like NXT's most unique episode in a long time. Really enjoy the pacing. I personally have to disagree. And some of the different approaches to segment stacking, which is exactly what we were talking about, how the segments are overlapping each other. It's exactly what we've been talking about, and that's the tweet that he sent out. So it seems like he's saying that he's enjoyed the way that the segments have overlapped tonight. I personally haven't. But there we go. And that he tweeted that 50 minutes ago. No mention of the tweet that he sent earlier, though. So, yeah, maybe someone that I'm going to have to take with a pinch of salt going forward. But I'm certainly not saying that he doesn't have sources. I'm just saying that it hasn't worked out for him this time. And as a result, someone like an account like WrestleVotes just seems to be able to get a bit more accuracy on things, That green screen really messed up. It did, didn't it? I noticed that in the background. It did. I just checked Ant's tweet today. He said he's gone for a while. I don't know what that's about. I wonder why TakeOver is 2 months than 1 month. Days, who do you think will be the one to take the title off Karrion Kross? Well, it's a really good point. I mean, maybe they are going to use this Fatal 5-Way. They could be using this Fatal 5-Way as a way of, as was said, making him seem even more dominant. Like, give me everyone at the same time, and I'll beat them all. I mean, I go back to what I said. I don't think it makes him look great, intelligent going into it. And I don't think if he is going to beat everyone that it makes the rest of the roster look brilliant. The fact that 4 of them, not one of them could get the job done. So, I don't know. You know that I've got issues with this match, right? I'm not feeling it. But so it could be designed to make him look really strong, or it could be designed to get the title off him. And if they're going to take the title off him now, he's got to be going to the main roster. Why would you take the title off him now otherwise? So, interesting. We'll have to wait and see which way they go with this. Because if they are going to make him look strong, I honestly am not too sure what his next feud would be. And you'd have to think whoever goes one-on-one with him is going to really struggle if he's going to be able to beat 4 of the guys. He's going to really struggle to like anyone going one-on-one with him. So, I don't know. Tricky, isn't it? Tricky. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll have to tune in to In Your House and find out. Days, I know what he was on about. It was about Carmelo Hayes, his following up on it. Okay, well, I'll see what his tweet is. George saves the world by pulling up golf ball blow. WrestleVotes is my nickname. Thank you. Adam Cole. My only guess was that he was talking about Adam Cole. Days, who do you think would be the one to take the title across? We answered that. I think we're done. I think we've pretty much answered everything, to be honest. And I think we've kind of covered everything. This, to me, was a misstep. It'll be an interesting one to see, what people thought of it. Just seeing what John Alba put there. He seemed to have enjoyed it. It's not an episode that grabbed me. But certainly some of your scores were positive as well. So I think this is quite an interesting episode, I think this is quite an interesting one. I reckon there's people that really enjoyed it. I think there's people that didn't enjoy it. I think this is one that's going to split opinion a little bit more than a normal NXT episode. What I do appreciate is the fact that they are trying stuff. This definitely felt different. So I do appreciate the fact they are trying stuff. And we'll see where it leads and where it goes. But a slight misstep for me this week. So that's it, guys. Awesome. I hope you had a good evening anyway. Obviously, we will be back tomorrow, and it looks like we might be doing an England game. Lol. And Wrestling Escape Pod on Thursday. We've got SmackDown on Friday. I don't know what we're doing this weekend. Definitely UFC. Definitely Logan Paul. I haven't got a clue how anything else works in the grand scheme of things. So I'll have to have a look at how it all shakes out. But, yeah, we'll have a look. We'll get that sorted. And, as always, really appreciate the support. So have a great rest of your evenings. And hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.